Anything good on TV lately, Ashley?
God, no, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, between the Bears, Ted Lasso, and fucking the Vampire Lestat, I've been pretty busy.
The original unofficial fan podcast for Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles and the Lives of the Mayfair Witches. Welcome to the Coven, you butterscotch bitches.
You butterscotch bitches! Also, the World Cup is on. Obviously, we don't care about sports as much as we think we do.
I want to know, Ashley, are you also watching X-Men 97?
No, we haven't started it yet.
Have you seen any of the new?
We haven't started it yet. We won't be doing anything until except Ted Lasso for a minute. We're going to be done with that, I think, tonight. I think we'll finish it tonight.
I love. Okay, so I did 2 seasons of Ted Lasso and never got back to the 3rd. So I am stranded in limbo there. Kelly and I are currently trying to do For All Mankind. When we finish For All Mankind, we are going to rejoin. When we've had a hiatus this long, I'm like, I want to rewatch the show. She does not want to rewatch all of the episodes with me. So in both cases, she was like, you go do the first season of For All Mankind by yourself and tell me when you're done. And then we will watch the rest of it together.
She doesn't need to rehash the whole thing. Like we do.
I think she does even. She just doesn't. She doesn't want to do it on my schedule in time. So, hey, Timea, welcome everybody. We're doing. This is what we call in musical theater vamping.
We're
while
vamping.
Ashley and I wait for a few more people to show up for the live here. I just messaged literally the entire Patreon. I'm like, hey, we're going to talk about it if y'all want to come talk about it too. I don't know. Does anybody else need therapy this afternoon?
Anybody else need to work some things out? My God. Yeah.
I just decided that a future event's probably going to be called The Long Table.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love that. Yes.
Our VIP event where we have a special dinner together. It's called The Long Table.
Ooh.
And they all, because they paid to come, they can all tell us something that we did wrong in the podcast.
Yes,
Ashley.
they can roast us. Yeah. Yeah. They can discuss our failures, which are many.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. It just occurred to me because I don't like to do that because they glare, but I'm gonna have to do it because I can't read your chat otherwise, folks. All right, Allie says good morning. Oh, God bless you. Although I know so many of you have been waking up at 3 and 4 a.m. to watch this fucking show.
This is probably we're on your sleep schedule right now. So
Melissa, I thought you were at the rest area. You can't watch this. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. Okay. Couple of things just right off the top. We are going to be talking about the failures tonight. Ashley and I are probably going to go ahead and talk about at the end of our discussion. We're going to talk about the After Dark as well because we've already watched that.
We have.
And like let's just have the discussion because there is a lot left hanging. Obviously,
let's unpack it together.
And I think some of that does get not answered, not resolved, but there are some heavy hints and implications in the Backstage Pass and in the After Dark about what is next. Also, such a little time to wait. July 24th, we're going to have Comic-Con, and my guess is there will be announcements. Yeah. There will be announcements.
They better be. They better be fucking announcements, Comic-Con. Look at my face. I need it. I need to know.
Mandy says we haven't been waking up at 3 a.m. to watch it. We've been staying awake. Oh, okay. All right.
Kabless.
We are creatures of the night.
We are. We are indeed.
A couple of things about scheduling. So next week is an all feedback episode for the podcast itself. So if you've got thoughts on this season, somebody just said they posted in the spoiler thread a few thoughts, and then they said, I'm going to make a post later about the season overall. I'm going to make a thread for us in the Facebook group. So if you're in the Facebook group, which, by the way, I just looked. There's an automated post that goes out every week. On Monday, it will go out, and it's currently scheduled to have 32 names on it that have been added to the group this week.
Gosh, you guys, welcome.
Goodness. Yeah, hi. There really are good conversations there, and there will be great conversations to be had in this off season, and we can all lean on each other's shoulders as we do our many, many rewatches. I can imagine.
I was literally about to say, we can't pretend like we're not going to dive right back into this and eventually and pick it apart
Okay,
little more
here's
heavily.
the one thing that I sort of had a negative thought about today, Ashley. I thought, are we going to have enough runway to do all the things that you and I want to do? We've
That
talked
we've already
about
planned
like
out.
maybe as many as like 20 episodes of Flan again that we really want to get to soon this fall. Also, I had almost forgotten that Carrie is coming. So like we're going to cover Carrie this fall at some point on Flan again. Then we'll have a Mayfair season to talk about sometime in 2027. I don't know about you. I feel like I need to revisit the Vampire Lestat novel. We definitely need to break down the Queen of the Damned novel, though, before the next season.
God, what the hell have we done to ourselves?
Lots to do, folks, is the point. Scheduling, real quick. Next week's All Feedback. Go to the Facebook group. You'll see, I'll put up a post in the next day or two at least, where if you want to make your little, like, here's my official statement for the record for the long table,
right?
About the season, you can make your statement, and we'll share a lot of those in next episode. The week after that, we are going to do an AMA episode. So Ashley and I have our scheduling has gotten a little insane. She's got a trip coming up. I've got a work trip coming up. So we're going to be recording that AMA episode on August 4th. It's a Tuesday afternoon. Now, I've got another podcast recording with Rose Sinister that day, live in New Orleans, so we're not sure exactly the timing. If the timing is any way reasonable, we'll live stream it with you all. And actually, what I'd like to do for that is live stream it just to the YouTube channel, period. And we'll try to do that if we can. If it's a weird time, I'm not promising that is my point. But there is a post up right now on Patreon for the Children of the Millennia, for the Queen of the Damned, for the makers. You've all got access to the AMA post. You can put your questions in first. We'll get your questions first. And then if we get just a million bajillion, you folks will get in for sure. For Fledglings, you'll have your opportunity to add your questions in soon. I do not imagine that your questions will get overlooked, so don't worry about that. You don't have to upgrade for this, is my point. But that is in 2 weeks. And then in 3 weeks, we are going to start talking about Flan again. Ashley and I are going to talk about it. We wanted to do movies. We wanted to do Dr. Sleep. We wanted to do The Life of Chuck. However, I'm worried now about Carrie, and I want to start Carrie when Carrie starts.
When it starts,
we don't have a date. We don't have a date yet, though. That's the thing. There was a date on a poster that I found that said October 10th, and I had lined it up. I was like, well, we could do 2 episodes of Haunting of Hill House for each episode and get it done in like 6 weeks.
No, we don't want to rush Hill House.
I don't think so. I don't think so either.
So
I think probably
we also invited my brother to come do Hill House with us, and that's going to be so fun. Yeah, that's going to be really fun.
My thinking is we'll go straight into Hill House so that we won't have to rush it. And at worst, we'll be like 1 week behind Carrie or something. But if Carrie is later in the fall than we think, then we'll finish Hill House. We'll do a week or 2 of movies, and then we'll start Carrie. So there you go. That's what's coming up for our regular stuff. Articulate Coven Afterlife continues. We've been doing Baz Luhrmann. We had a great discussion of Romeo and Juliet. Ashley and I already put out a discussion of Strictly Ballroom for patrons.
So
next week, it's Moulin Rouge. What a delightful revisit that has been. And genuinely, like, a lot of themes in common with this show, strangely, which I didn't expect exactly. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I do think there's talking here about getting like season 4.
Please.
Hopefully we get it sooner than expected. And I think we're all hoping that. But I do think they're waiting for Comic-Con to announce the 4th season.
Okay. Let's start there. First of all, let's introduce ourselves. We are the Articulate Coven. We are the original unofficial fan podcast for Anne Rice's Immortal Universe. We're your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. You are the Articulate Coven. I am she and she is me. Thank you all for being here. Okay, Ashley, let's start right there. What are your expectations for the announcements? First of all, I've seen some hubbub in the threads about like, I think they know already that they've been renewed for season 4.
I do.
Okay.
I think they know. I 100% think they know. Mainly, a lot of that had to do with some of the tiniest little smiles during the After Dark when they were talking about the possibility of season 4 and what might happen with season 4. I just saw on a couple of the faces just the slightest little lift of a smile, which makes me really, I think they know. I also don't think they would have cliffhung us so hard if they weren't expecting another season.
I think it was Andrea Eastman, somebody though in the spoiler thread said, what the hell was the statement from Rollin earlier about this season finale could have been a fitting end if it needed to be, et cetera, et cetera. All right, here's my stance on that. I think, and we'll get to it in specific when we're breaking down the episode beat by beat, but there are actual lines from Lestat's mouth in this episode that I think are Rollin's thesis statement. I think they gave him one season and they didn't guarantee him another season out of the gate. And he said, let me show you what I'll do with that. and he says, I think it was pretty fucking great, actually. If it was a failure, then at least I tried. And I think that is his thesis statement. Also, I think the lack of Akasha in this episode is a bit of a thumb of the nose. You want a Queen of the Damned? You want a world-shattering cataclysm to happen in your little AMC show? Well, great. Give me another fucking season.
We're not going to give it to you yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I think we're about to get at Comic-Con. I think we are going to get the Night Island announcement. I don't know that we're going to get any dates or timelines on that yet. I also don't believe these things are in production currently.
Right.
I do think that Rollin has been writing. Sam finished with this show. Not just the filming of it, he finished with the recording, he finished with the ADR, he finished with everything at Christmas. And then he had a couple of months break, just a few months, but mind you, and then he met you all and played for you all in New York and began the serious hard promo for this show. Well, Rollin didn't have any ADR, and Rollin wasn't in the studio with Daniel Hart recording things for the album. So Rollin and Hannah et al., they were done a long time ago. And my guess is that when you lay it on the table like they did with this season, I think you're right. I think the green light came somewhere in the past. Their announcement is coming later. But I think they're already on the road to having this thing ready to roll. So I don't think we're waiting 2 years for this.
I really hope we don't. It would be very long.
Okay, let's start breaking down the episode specifically. However, I want to get to a few comments here. I freaked when I saw those pics from the play until I saw that it was a wig. Yeah, everybody was like, oh, no, he cut his hair. He very specifically did not cut his hair. The question I keep asking myself as I rewatch episode 7 is, they've already filmed the concert. Have they already filmed the concert before wrapping the season? No, they and listen, I don't know why any of us were surprised that there wasn't any Akasha in this. The backstage pass from the episode featuring Akasha said she only showed up the last 3 days of filming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they were filming the Crypt stuff.
Y'all, that's all she did. That's all she did this season. She showed up right there. They had done everything else. Sam told us in the backstage pass this week, the last thing he filmed was the violin in front of her body, body with that line about everything. Anyway, yes, I felt starved. I felt robbed that we didn't get Akasha's appearance. I think we're supposed to. And I think the network was supposed to feel, well, we can't leave it there.
Well, and you have to leave us wanting more. Come on. We're rabidly unwell, so leave us wanting a little more. I don't mind them taking their time, We complained about them going too fast a lot, so slowing down a little bit is grand. And it also
Tom says, I was hoping Sheila was being misleading. You could, listen, you sound like Ashley and I when we were watching the first few episodes of Mayfair. This is good. This is all, they're going somewhere with this.
Bless us. Bless us.
Okay. This was on Threads. Author B.C. Johnson at the Vampire Lestat. I regret to inform you that as the foremost enforcer of the great laws, ACAB includes Armand.
Fucking Armand. We got a lot to talk about with Armand.
So much. Okay, well, I'm going to put. Kelly told me that I could start with her thought. She put it in the spoiler thread too. But we finished the episode and she had a sour look on her face. And I said, you don't like the cliffhanger, huh? She's like, well, I mean, I got a lot of questions about that. But why the end of every season got to be about Armand? And I said, I guess it sort of has been. And she said, no, Jen, think about it. First season ends with he takes off his gloves and Rashid is really Armand. Ooh, Vampire Armand, love my life. Second season ends with, oh, you just thought he had been lying to you for the last 70 years. In fact, he'd been lying he doubled down on the lie. There was an extra 77-year-old lie or whatever, and fuck Armand at the end of season 2. And now we get to the end of season 3. You just thought he was behind it all. He was behind the things that you didn't know he was behind, et cetera, et cetera. Why does it have to always be about Armand, Ashley?
I don't know. Ask Lestat. Ask Louis. Ask Marius. I think is the answer to that question.
Rotten boy.
Oh.
Rotten boy.
How dare you? How dare you?
Okay, Haviland, a fairly recent patron, said in a comment, reply to, I think, our After Dark discussion from Montreal, said about the visions of the future, because I had said I think we were supposed to notice that Lestat and Louis' visions of retirement were very different. Louis like, let's go to the desert, and Lestat's talking about the forest. I think Lestat's vision is a real one, and Louis is supposed to be an I would choose you gesture. And as we see, Lestat's vision was having visions of his future somehow. Louis is subtle. However, Lestat has been fishing for Louis to tell him he loves him, or clues that he does all episode long, and this is the closest that he gets there. In season 1, Lestat himself was not enough for Louis. Louis was still holding on to his human attachments. This is such a brilliant point. The desert idea separates them from humanity.
Lovely.
Explicitly, where they can only be together alone. He then asks about birds, which Lestat in his vision said that he was wanting to record the songs of. And I was like, oh, you're right. It's not actually in disharmony, which is the way that I was envisioning it. It is like
an offering.
Yeah, or what's the word? Not colors that match, but like the complementary colors. It's like complementary colors, right? You say, will this go with that? And no, they won't, except when you put the tie over the suit and you're like, God damn, that looks good, Yeah. Anyway.
I love, and back to the Armand of it all, because that is kind of sitting with me and I'm thinking about it, But although he is quite a puppet master, as we discover, he is also a fucking pawn in so many people's games. Like you'd get sick of that sometimes. And you're like, no, I actually want to be a fucking knight on the chessboard instead of a fucking pawn. Yeah. So here I go. And I'm going to fuck you up.
Which is one of the reasons why I think we're going to get that Night Island announcement. I think this finale specifically sets us up for, first of all, we have only been teased with the devil's minion of it all. I know many people even that really like that relationship have felt like it was sort of rushed to completion and connection in this season. And Rollin makes the point in, I think, the After Dark, but it's something along the lines of like, many characters are doing things that we do not see them do, right? They're happening off screen this season. Somebody's already said in the chat, Rollin specifically said, we've only seen half of Lestat's story.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to get to that discussion in a little while. Let's go beat by beat on this thing. No cold open. That was the first thing I noticed. We go straight to the theme song and the intro, which no voiceover at the intro, at the end of the song, all fall down either. Lestat is not home to start this episode.
No, indeed. No,
Beep,
indeed.
Leave a message. Okay. The description from Lestat of the end of last episode, and then the world pivots and I see stars in the sky. This was all so lovely. Judah and I were talking when we got done watching episode 7, and I was asking him if he like how much was he worried about the gore in episode 7, because he is like me, he will cover his eyes and look through his fingers and whatever. And he said this show does a good job of walking that line. There are moments where you're like, we're supposed to feel overwhelmed with the brutality in some way or another.
Yeah.
But we do not dwell on that. And the beheading is a great example of that. We see the beheading. We see him slice. We see the beheaded necks a few times in this episode especially. But what we dwell on, what we come back to, is the POV of the sideways head staring at Alex or staring at the sky, right? And I think this show does that in the same way that the novels do. We don't live in the horror of it. We live in the gothic of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they do push the body horror pretty hard this episode, but it wasn't gory, you know, it wasn't. But like, I mean, we were sitting there with Louis' decapitated head for an awfully long time.
Okay. He talked about the forest, and I had mentioned that I thought of Auvergne. Several other people said, "Oh, I immediately went to Maharet's compound,
twins,
or Makare tromping through the jungles and the forests in Queen of the Damned." When he said Birdsong, I thought of Paul. Did not expect to see Paul in this episode, though.
That was and I'm so glad we didn't get anything spoiled. I didn't have anything spoiled from this episode, and I'm really, really glad I did not. Now, granted,
neither. Yeah.
I did grab that cookie that you offered me and watched it, you know, immediately when I was able to. So, but I couldn't rewatch it until this morning. We didn't even get screeners, y'all. We got no screener for this.
Not even an email that we weren't getting screeners. It was just like, just deal with it. I know everybody in comms at AMC is very busy discussing their various issues with the Apple release on Thursday night. But God bless.
Yeah. I watched it for a second time in the bathtub today. It was lovely. It was a lovely tub watch.
Okay. The purple shirt that Lestat is wearing at the table, and as he's walking through the forest beforehand, he has had so many beautiful costumes this season, and we see many of them in the flashes that we get throughout.
Yeah, and the montage.
But that purple shirt, y'all, holy moly! Maybe it's the He-Man of it all. It sort of looks like a shirt He-Man might wear from the animated series.
That might be what's hitting you. That might be what's hitting you. I mean, he looks fantastic, but I think one of his best costumes all season is that pink corseted top.
And we get it returned when I'm a peacock as he flips it out at one point in this episode. It's like, oh, Jesus.
I love that costume. That's been one of my favorites this season. I just, fuck it. He just oozes Lestat in that to me.
Lestat. I love it when he first approaches the table and they all say hello to each other. I also find it hilarious. They all kind of say his name differently, which is also fucking hilarious. It is pretty funny. It also called to mind though. I immediately go, anytime you have name repetition like that, I go to Newhart from what was that, the 80s, I guess, still, where it's my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl and Daryl. Yeah, yep. I love it. It was hilarious. Also, having to acknowledge different parts of himself, I like that move too. You know, like you have to sit in this. You got to sit and look at your, look at yourself, which is what this episode is all about. Is like look at yourself. You know, look at yourself, buddy.
Holly says, I can't hear purple shirt now without thinking about Andrew Tate. And first of all, ma'am, I am so glad that I don't associate a purple shirt with Andrew Tate. I will say.
Got arrested.
Just got arrested again. Yeah, fucker. All right, there you go. Congratulations, everybody. We did it.
Shirt fuchsia. Just to
there you go. Okay. Magnus being the chairman of the table. First of all, I thought, excellent. Although Kelly so detests the look of Magnus, every time he's on screen, she literally turns away. She's like, when he stops talking, I'll look again. I'm like, what's interesting though is that you and I think even talked about it maybe on the show. We haven't dwelled on it, but to me, Magnus was almost not grotesque enough.
Yeah, he could have been a little gross. It did hit just right for me. Like, it wasn't too much for me that I couldn't stand to look at him, because I get that vibe, Kelly. I get that vibe 100%.
She's always like, oh.
Yeah, if they had gone much farther, I might have been a little uncomfortable. It was just gross enough for me. And it was really creepy. I think that was more the thing, is he looked so fucking creepy. And just imagining that face in the audience and seeing that face in the crowd over and over again, that is, ooh.
And very unique than all the other vampires, right? Mm-hmm. He stands out from all of the other vampires in a way that makes that fills it in, even if you're like, oh, I always thought he had a hunchback or whatever, right?
Yeah. It was just, for me, it was more this like ghoulish face. And for me, that's the thing I remember about Magnus the most, is that face that Lestat kept
the white
seeing.
face.
Yeah.
Yes, the haunting white face.
And that was the thing that really creeped me out about him. So I was really happy that they kind of succeeded with that piece of it for me so well. And it's just one of those examples that like different parts of different characters, physicalities, personalities, whatever, hit us in different ways. So we all have a different thing that we connect to it. And some are hits and some are misses for each of us. And that's just adaptation life. It's not even adaptation life. We read the book a different way, like we're gonna, we love, some of us love Louis. Some of us really relate to wanting to set shit on fire. Some of us love Lestat because he's a version of ourselves that we could never quite ever exist in, and there's so many different facets of these characters in these books and the show to admire and to hate and to fear and to love. It's such a gift that we get to experience something in so many different ways. And then we can have like interesting conversations about it without being like, no, that isn't it. That isn't right. He wasn't right. It's like, no, he wasn't right for me, but I could see how it hits for somebody else,
How did you interpret the long table period? We got to the end of the episode and Kelly was sort of like, so we just spent the whole episode listening to these people that are angry at him? And I'm like, okay, but that sort of, are those really the people at the table? And she's like, well, those are like the spirits of them. And I'm like, were they? Because some of those people at the table aren't dead currently, And she's like, well, that's a good point. My interpretation was that this is all literally the reckoning, as Magnus says, is just Lestat processing. He's just processing it through the personalities of these beloveds.
This is a big internal monologue he's having with several different people,
Yeah.
I actually love the long table metaphor, because when we think about that dinner table where his trauma begins in life, and it's who's at the head of the table, who's in control, who's the boss, who's the abuser, and then you're getting into like everyone has their family discussions around a dinner table, we all sit and eat together. We all talk about our day, and it's like, I love that metaphor and how it kind of carries through, because like it or not, this is his family. This is what he has wrought. This is, this is the reckoning. And I loved that metaphor. It really hit for me very well. And that this same fucking table can be in so many different places. Doesn't matter where you put this table. It's still a fucking place where you're going to have a hard conversation.
It's also this, we're bleeding into the After Dark discussion, and I'm just going to say it right now. We're not going to do a separate episode for After Dark. We're going to talk about it here
talk
too,
about it
because
within
this is going to come up. This was such an indictment for me, such a moment for me. Lizzie says in the After Dark episode, so the long table isn't in the book? ? How does she say it? She says, am I right that this is not something that exists in the book? Somebody do her a service and phrase that question differently, Lizzie, so that it is not obvious that you didn't read them or even fucking try. Like, first of all, this is a brilliant invention of Rollins. It really is convenient for the budgetary concerns that we've talked about over the season. It's brilliant for a staging issue. It's brilliant to bring home that Rollin is he's telling the story from the book. However, he has seen it and felt it in a way, and it means a certain thing to him. Hannah mentions it in the After Dark. He hates telling a story about identity, but it turns out he had to tell a story about identity, right?
This whole season.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the long table does all of that brilliantly in a way that genuinely, like if Anne were alive, she'd be writing fucking page-long diatribes on Facebook about what a brilliant thing it is, and she'd put it into the 4th Prince Lestat novel, and et cetera, right? Like, this would absolutely be a thing. I want to acknowledge my own doubt. brings back and answers and fills in a way some of the things that I felt were lacking in episodes 2 and 3 especially. And I think when I rewatch this season as a whole, especially once we get season 2, where I do think we will get more visits to those flashbacks. I do think we will see young Lestat again. I don't know whether we're ever going to get the wolf fight that I want, but I do think that we will get more of those backstories in a way that will be very satisfying and will also connect to the story that he is telling in that season, like the ones that we got connected to this story.
Right, because we're only halfway through the Failures albums, friends. Romans countrymen, and I'm not going to say I told you so, Joel, but I did tell you be patient.
You
I did
fucking
say
did.
Be patient. I said, be patient. Let the tale seduce you.
Okay, TC starting the clock, starting the timer on the iPhone and sliding it down to Lestat, I thought was wonderful. The part that every one of these muses has to play at the table, I think, is really, really lovely. They all get their due. I also think it's a bold choice, but the right one to not include Claudia. Rollins said in the After Dark that they wrote it originally with Claudia at the table. And they were like, nope.
No, I love her not being there. And I love that when he asks, I do love that he asks about her almost immediately. And I love, love, love that Magnus is like, nope, she said what she needed to say. You could sit in that.
Oh, I'm gonna give you the exact quote. And where's Claudia? She said all she needs to say to you is what she said, which, first of all,
I love the way that's phrased.
Yes. Okay. And it mirrors in some ways Marius's introduction. Marius says, she told me where you were. I went there. You were there. I brought you here, and now you're here, or whatever. I'm saying it wrong. But he also had a lyrical.
Yeah, it had a cadence to it.
The melodic cadence of that is lovely. And then Antoinette says, the official record shows.
Oh, I love Antoinette in this episode was fucking hilarious.
Fuck him. Fuck y'all. Go burn like that 9-fingered bitch Antoinette. Antoinette being the minutes taker at the table was very interesting. Working with one less finger. I hadn't thought about it, but she's typing with one less finger.
I want to applaud a disabled queen that can type that fast.
Yeah, that was impressive. Okay. They're eating the same course over and over again. The first course that we hear announced is course 187.
It's all the soul.
Course 187, the soul!
The soul!
Yes, I love the way they announce it every time, but I also thought it was telling that we start with 187, which of course is the code for murder. Okay. They cut to Louis gasping.
Ugh.
Ashley. When I realized that Armand is reading amends to this head, the scream I scrumped, ma'am.
Holy
this
shit.
Motherfucker, this fucking gremlin.
I mean,
this gremlin.
This is so Armand to the extreme. Armen's. Holy shit. I laughed so hard when he said Armen's. I thought I was going to piss myself in the midst of my complete abject horror. But we knew this. I knew something fucked up was coming. I knew something super fucked up was coming. I just didn't know visually how fucked up it was going to be. And my guy, Armand, definitely delivered on the fuckery here. Yes, Tom, diabolical.
I need to see that eye plucked out now. You could have done it off screen previously.
But now I want the payoff.
But after episode 7, I need to watch it happen. I need to see it.
That was so much.
That fucker.
That was so much.
What, I mean, the levels, first of all, could you have, this, spoiler, this is not in the books.
No.
We said last week, there are no decapitations to either Lestat or Armand, or Lestat or Louis in this way, ever in the novels. It does happen. People do get decapitated, and we do know that vampires can be reunited with their head and body, et cetera, et cetera. So like,
and parts.
Yes. Yeah, and various parts. Indeed.
Bits and
That's
bobs.
right.
You can get your bits and bobs back if you do it in a timely fashion.
But like, I could not have conceived of a way that you could have raised the fuckery from the trial. But that's what he
here's
did.
the thing. We know that there's more fuckery with Armand because he threatens to do to Louis and fucking Regina what he did to Claudia.
Now I will say, Judah and I talked about that too, because he asked the look on his face when he said that, and I literally pulled a grandpa from The Princess Bride. The eels don't eat her at this time.
The eels do not eat her.
I did. I said. Armand will not sew his head to Regina's body in this episode.
In this scene, this will not happen. Oh my God, that's so funny.
I explained. I was like, yeah, so this is a book reference. And I said and I gave him like the full context. I'm like, nobody seems to know this in universe. Years, decades have gone by. Many other people have written their own books. And then suddenly Armand gets to tell his tale. He gives us 400 or 500 pages of, I was a sex slave and my daddy didn't love me enough. And aren't I so sad? And you're very sympathetic. And then he goes, oh, by the way, I played Dr. Victor Frankenstein once with Claudia in the day and a half between when we locked Louis in a box and when I burned her in the sun. She didn't like it, so I took her back apart and we threw her in the sun anyway. Interesting to think about, though, isn't it? I was like, and that's literally how he lays it out in the book. He just drops it. He's like, interesting, isn't it?
I just feel like I should get this off my chest and share an interesting little tidbit that you did not know. Interesting. Assad is brilliant, Jolie. He is amazing. He was so good in this episode. Just like teetering on the brink of, no, not brink. He's deeply in madness, and it is just watching him struggle and watching him in his righteous anger too. Like, he is so convinced he deserves this fucking apology, and on some level he kind of does, but
okay.
I mean,
y'all know I was just looking up because I wanted to talk about, y'all were talking about Assad, and I do want to praise his acting, but first I want to praise the framing and the cinematography in this film, in this episode, the way this episode was shot. And I had to look it up. I was like, I forgot to see who was the director. Alan Taylor, who directs fucking I believe he directed the first 2 episodes of this show. I know he directed a bunch of the early Game of Thrones episodes, right? Like, Alan Taylor's done a million shows, all of the best TV that you've watched. Alan's had his hands on it. But like, the framing, so much of this episode features faces in 1/3. They'll often do like half the face in 1/3 of the frame. So I'm going to do it for myself right here. How can I do it? Can I do it? Yes. There we go. Like this with Armand's face while he reacts.
Yeah.
And
while he looks at my decapitated head.
Oh my God. Yes. Framing and even Louis' head. They'll do a Louis' head on the other side of the frame sometimes.
Sometimes over here.
And they do it with Gabriella and Lestat in the episode. They do it with Regina and Louis at times. They do it with Daniel and Raglan at one point. Like, it's a common refrain that we come back to, and it so puts you in the moment, and it's artful in its own. I mean, just genuinely, y'all.
Yeah.
This is the best timeline for this adaptation. We can all pick our nits. But if you don't appreciate the art of this show, fuck you, man. Fuck you.
Armand, oh my God, this is the best. Armand Defender in the chat. This is Haviland. Everyone else interrupted his amend speech. He had to do it. Right? He's got to get his words in, doesn't he? He deserves to say something without you interrupting him with a blood shower.
Dude. Okay, let's give Armand, the character, a little flowers here. He really does admit all the fucked up things he's done to Louis. He does it in the most dramatic and sadistic Hannibal Lecter-ass way.
Hey, Armand.
But he does say it. He just says it out loud. I did this to you. I did that to you. I put the Fred Steins in your photographs just to fuck with your head. When he gets right in his face.
And I'm right in his head. It's so weird.
Joel has turned the page. I'm proud of you. Kimbra, listen, Y'all knew I was going to come around. Rollins got me by the short hairs. You
well,
know
and
it.
I'm going to drag you along until you get your head on straight is the other thing. Come on, Joel.
Okay. I welcomed your straying because your guilt bound you to me more tightly, and it allowed me time for my observation of Daniel. First of all, he wasn't bullshitting with Daniel. It's 52 years of observation. He's saying it here to Louis.
100%.
Like,
yeah,
that's all real. And again, I think when Armand lies, it is clever and weaving in the truth as deeply and as thickly as he can to make it useful to him.
That's because he's so good at it and he's had so much practice. A good lie is embedded with truth.
Yes. Okay. And that is my full and heartfelt amends. And now it's your turn. Ashley, I screamed a scrumped when I scrumped the scream when I realized that he was going to read his his amends with his head on a skewer. When the whole point was for fucking Louis to write his I'm sorry note?
Yeah, I want your apology, motherfucker.
I had to pause the show. We're literally watching this Thursday night when it first came out. I paused the episode and told Kelly I needed some time. I got up and went to the bathroom, took a gummy, then walked outside and had a smoke break. Then came back in. I was like, okay. Great question from Haviland. Do you guys believe Armand never loved Louis? I have a lot of thoughts about how he never actually says it. He just asks questions about it. Okay. I do think Armand loved Louis. I think Armand's version of love is fucked up. Armand is not a whole person. Armand is not a healthy human being in any form, fashion, conception, et cetera, et cetera. And so Armand's version of love is Hannibal's version we talk about Hannibal a lot on this show. Hannibal's version of love is fucked up, right? Hannibal does love Will. Hannibal loves fucking Clarice. He loves Clarice the most, I think, probably. But regardless, it is not the kind of love you would want, friend.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Armand needed Louis in a big way when he met him, I think, well, and I mean, he found ways to make Louis useful for him too. So, but I do think, what did Tom say? As much as Armand loved Louis as best as he could. Yes, I agree with that.
Camilla references the quote too. I think I might be a room without walls, floor, ceiling, and infinite nothing. Armand knows it about himself. That's the tragedy. That's what draws the single tear. I've seen already a few people be like, I gave Armand a single tear during that end scene with him. Yeah, me too. And we feel that way in the book, right? We also know he's a monster. We also can feel the sympathy for him. This is the same reason why we all fall in love with Hannibal in the TV show, in the books, et cetera, et cetera. It's like a monster can be multifaceted. Guess what? So are human beings. It's why we can read some sort of, historical biography of Hitler and gain something from it. We don't want to emulate them. We do not find them endearing. We need to learn more about the human condition.
Look, monsters are made, so that's the thing. I mean, not always, but
this whole episode is sort of a treatise on how a monster is made, isn't it? Isn't this really all about Lestat coming to terms with the fact that he was grown, not by Magnus, but by Mommy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
I learned it from you, Mom.
I learned from what you do. Yeah. Well, and I mean, we've talked about Gabriella's gotten a huge villain edit this season, and this is not the same Gabriella from the books for sure.
No.
And she is monstrous. I mean, Gabriella in the books is monstrous, but this one is definitely, like I said, turned up to 11, and it is very, very. Oh, I love that. Gabriella reads so much like season 1 Lestat, Tom just said. Yeah. Like Yes. Even down, and they even showed that mirroring of her forcing him to watch the witches because she wanted him to she wants him to be brave enough to leave that fucked up town. And he's holding Claudia there, telling her that this is what we have to do when we accidentally kill our boyfriends. And it's just part of it. You got to watch them burn, like, fuck off.
That realization is what breaks Lestat. That's when he starts to go,
and he's making the same noise as Nikki when Nikki burned. That was,
yes.
I was so uncomfortable the entire time he was making that noise.
Yes. Okay. Dying, not yet dead. Gabriella says it before she even takes over the chairmanship. And then Magnus says something along the lines of, judgment comes from God, the devil, the simulation. No one ever tells us. First of all, it's a funny line. Somebody earlier said the choice to make Magnus funny was an interesting one, and they kind of liked it. I like it a lot. I like that Magnus is funny. And also, we have to remind ourselves, this isn't Magnus. This is Lestat's impression of Magnus.
Right.
I knew you for a week.
Oh, I love that. Like, how dare you? How dare you?
I love, though, and again, I genuinely, maybe Mark just really likes the book Memnoch. I don't know, but somebody does, because they are headed in that direction. Judgment comes from God, the devil, the simulation. No one ever tells us. That is a specific reference. The fact that so much of this episode talks about the soul. I think we are supposed to begin to head in that direction and think those thoughts. To my mind, I feel like you got to do Tale of the Body Thief first before you can do Memnoch in earnest. But who knows? We talked last week in the After Dark, in the kind of spoiler for the books theoretically, but I think there's a potential you could even do Memnoch without Lestat. I saw a lot of people say, like, oh, please don't do that. I hope they don't. But I'm just saying, if it comes down to contract and budget and you got to split this thing up a little bit as it goes on, there are ways to do it that could still be very satisfying, honestly. And at this point, as long as you put Rowland and Hannah in charge of things, I'm fine. I'll shut up. I promise. Well, I won't shut up, but I won't bitch all season. I promise.
I won't bitch all season. Slap the hand.
Goodness. Good call, Tom. The long table feels like the funeral feast from Queen of the Damned. Yes, it does have a lot in common, I think, with that. You're right. All right. Dying, not yet dead. Oh, a bowling ball bag. Ashley, I swear to God, I said before the season started, if they actually make bowling a major part of this season's storyline in some fashion, I will genuinely not be able to be talked out of thinking that Rowland listens to this show. Rowland listens to this show, y'all. Rowland listens to this fucking show. He knows I'm a Big Lebowski fan, and he did that shit for me. Did that shit for me.
It's like that time that what's her face, Elizabeth. But a whole film was made for me personally. It was called Cocaine Bear.
That's right.
I
forgot about that.
Brett was like, what favor did you owe her that you got that film? And I was like, the universe provides for the worthy.
Here's what's so funny. Okay, so Kelly and I had seen the show on Thursday night the first time. Judah was out of town with his partner. He was my oldest was doing a little trip to New Orleans. In case you didn't listen to last, I guess we talked about that on a Patreon thing, so maybe none of you heard that. Anyway, we did that. He was gone to New Orleans for a couple of days. He got back, and we were all in the pool yesterday afternoon. And Kelly asked him something about, hey, when are we going to watch the finale or whatever? And she was telling him about how we had gotten it early. And he made some offhand comment about, I wonder if Daniel is going to carry Lestat's head in a bowling bag he guessed it. And she and I worked so hard not to let our faces show that. And so when it happened in the episode today and he saw it, he was like, yeah, I called it. I called it.
Amazing.
Yeah, he got it. He absolutely got it. Okay. Louis' first amends letter is just fuck you.
I love it.
Armand says that this is all being live cast to a very important room in Budapest. Who's in Budapest? Who's in Budapest?
Who it? Who it?
I don't know. I don't have a good... The Brute was in Madagascar that we had heard previously mentioned.
Well, the Talamasca mirror says.
Oh, you think it's the Talamasca in Budapest that's getting it? Maybe, but then again, the Talamasca are arranging to get him back. I don't know. Mira.
I mean, how deep is the Talamasca in this? Also, could it be? Oh no, it wouldn't be because it's Armand doing it. I was going to say, could it be Marius? But that would not work.
Yeah, I don't think that's... And also, well, I will say this, that would be... If Marius was involved in this in some fashion, that would mean that the scene from Queen of the Damned where Akasha frees herself, let's say, would be particularly satisfying for some of us.
Right.
Boy, it's going to be bad if they make me root for Akasha for a good bit of next season.
Well, here's the thing, Joel. As a woman in the year 2026, I don't think I'm going to be able to help but root for Akasha a little bit.
Peter Van Abel is from the Netherlands, I think, in the books. You're right, Mira. It might be the Talamasca over there. I don't know. All right, let's see. Dr. Farid, though. I hadn't mentioned him yet. Dr. Farid is here. And Armand says, was he studying us the whole time? Was he doing it in Dubai? Was he doing it on the bus? Yes, is the answer. He was studying us. Okay, I haven't mentioned this previously. You and I talked about somebody's great theory about Lemuel, Louis' current boyfriend, being someone else from the books, particularly the theory was that he was Inkil, in fact, and that Akasha had not risen alone in this version. It turns out that doesn't seem to be the case. However, I heard a good other theory that maybe he is Seth.
Seth, yeah.
Okay, Seth would make a lot of sense to have been lurking in the backgrounds and would make a great reveal. Also would make a great deal of sense why Farid was around and why he was, I wouldn't say unbothered to be doing these things with Armand in this episode. He clearly was bothered. And yet he was not freaking out, was he, Ashley? He didn't seem concerned for his own safety, for instance.
He didn't seem comfortable.
No, not comfortable.
There's definitely there's something real Deadeye about Farid in this that made me a little uncomfortable about what may be happening with Farid and Armand. Like, is Armand dipping into Farid right now? Like, what's happening?
I agree. Seth as Lem also gives us answers to Louis' power-up if they've been sharing blood. Yes, that's the other... We do know that Louis got the... I say we know. We believe that Louis got the cloud gift now. It's sort of being a little... Yeah, maybe he's being a little circumspect with it and not being loud about it. But yeah, he certainly seems to have gotten a power-up. Also, it might be that Seth was the one in Budapest watching this. I will say, is Budapest where those underground castles are? There's an ancient in the later books that's got all those underground compounds, right? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't have my alphabetary near.
I'm thinking that's a fourth season hint for us, y'all. We're going to come back and find out more about the other side of that video call.
Well, and I think too, all of these things that we speculate that might happen or who characters might become are all, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that's going to pan out in the next season, or something that's going to be revealed even in the next 2 seasons. And it may be that shit gets canceled and we never quite get a reveal. But in the meantime, we got a sweet little Easter egg they got to carry around in your basket,
Mandy Taylor, as always, with great stuff. Today, whilst thinking about this episode, I was focused on the severed heads and where they were and what that means for plot and theme. Armand had Louis and his head at the butcher shop with Lestat's body. Dan has to take Lestat's head away from his body. Now, practically, it could just be out of fear of Lestat's power to reassemble himself, or that he'd keep talking, maybe. But thematically, symbolically, it feels like an intended separation from Louis so Armand could have his time. Lestat wouldn't know what Armand was doing because he would, even severed, have some influence to stop it if he had been in the room with him. Lestat, of course, couldn't have gone on his stroll down Failure's Lane if he was too busy in his mind with what was happening to Louis also. Armand knows the power of the Lestat connection, hence his entire confession-inducing performance, the absolute fucker. So he knows he needs to keep them apart if he wants the intimacy he requires to push Louis. It almost feels like the experiment going on is actually the test of the bond of Louis and Lestat, not the bond of one's head and body. And I needed to get to that last line because fuck, you laid me low, Mandy.
That's
I almost
great.
cried.
That's great. Bye, Camilla.
Jennifer says, nice analysis, and this makes much sense. I swear the show haunts my dreams and my waking hours. It's nearly impossible to stop thinking about it. Yeah, it fucking it. We've been thinking about it for 30 years, but we've been talking about it for 10. Okay, Mandy, just a brilliant breakdown on that, first of all. And also, I do think it's layers, right? It is lots of things. There was a moment in the After Dark, I think, where Assad pointed out that's the only scene between Armand and Louis in the whole season.
Oof.
It's the only time Armand and Louis are together all season long is there in the butcher shop, which I had not thought about until I watched that After Dark, and I was like, oh, fuck. They did have a lot to talk about, didn't they?
They had some things to unpack.
Yeah. Armand says, I backdoored myself into his band. First of all, he's running his finger over Lestat's body, headless corpse there. I backdoored myself into his band, enjoyed ruining for the sake of ruining. I'm going to wait, but I do want to talk about how Armand backdoored himself into the band. We're going to talk about the Alex of it all a little bit later. We'll come back to that.
Well, it sure sounds like he killed Larry just for giggles.
Yeah, I mean, just for shits and
giggles.
Just
for giggles.
Daniel and I have the same shoe size, for the record, although I am a wide, for what that's worth. I don't know why I'm proud of that exactly, but I am. Okay. I did not expect Regina in this episode. When he pulls her out of as soon as he opens the freezer, I knew who it was.
Yeah.
But I was, again, it's like the level, just shock on shock on shock.
Yeah. And then we've got more layers coming.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
This is a real parfait of fuckery is what I'm saying.
Waitress, sister, daughter, none of those things. All right, right there we should have known, in fact, actually, what was coming as far as the next level of fuckery. We cut back, though, to the long table, and there is, I like they're listing some of Lestat's faults. He destroyed the Children of Darkness. He abandoned the Théâtre de Vampire, et cetera, et cetera. He says, I did what my maker showed me. Throw money at the problem and run away. Magnus speaks in the third person when he's on the back foot.
That's so funny.
So we get our switch to mommy in the chair. Gabriella becomes chairman for the long table discussion. All right. I thought even when he says, oh, you want mommy in the chair? I thought the reveal was going to be Akasha. I thought Akasha was going to take the chair.
No.
I really did. I thought we were going to get her. When he says I have two makers, I thought that's what he was. I thought I am a vampire at all because of you, Magnus. But the reason why I am this special fucking anointed one, the reason why I'm a thorn in every vampire's side, and also the one that they all look up to and desire and want to be next to, is because I was the unworthy chosen of Akasha, as Marius puts it later in the episode.
No, it's just a mommy and me situation.
It's fucking Oedipus all the way down, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's not often just a cigar, Ashley. In fact, actually. Okay. He doesn't want you to die, but let's see if that holds. She's screaming here, I don't want to die. Delaney is unfucking believable in this episode.
She's so scared. I mean, well, and she said in the After Dark, or maybe it wasn't, maybe it was in the after like scene thing, but she says she did not realize that it was an animatronic head. So when they popped that off, she was like,
her first scream was real. Yeah, her first scream was real. Jacob said, shudder. AMC. The next Scream Queen is Delaney Hales. You know her already.
You love her.
Okay. There were 3 near Claudias, it turns out. Delaney, this Regina was just the best one, actually. She was just the one that was most fitting. He found a 7 in, wherever, and an 8.5 in such and such. He rated. Also, confirmation from Armand that he's an iPad user. We said back in season 1, I think, that he's a big iPad boy. No, season 2, I guess, is where we see him in the bedroom, and we realize that Armand is a big iPad boy. But yeah, he says it here. It is, in fact, an iPad that he uses. Facial recognition software and a photo of Claudia in her baby Lulus. And he found 3. This motherfucker conceived the moment you threw me into the supporting wall of our Dubai penthouse.
Well, when he gets focused, Armand, he can wallow in misery for an awfully long time, but when he gets focused on a project, he really truly does commit.
Boy, you want to talk about commitment, man. All right, when Asa does Delaney's accent, it's fucking brilliant. He says, he's talking about the hamburgers, what we do, the best thing to do is let them get sloppy in the grease or whatever. Yeah, it's so good. And then she says, and this is, I think, my favorite line from her in the whole episode, the way she says, "What I gone and done to us. What I gone and done to us," as she's crying. And that's when we get Armand's threat, by the way. I'm going to cut her head off with the same blade that I cut yours off, and then I'm going to sew your head onto her body. Hard cut. Next scene. What else we got?
And everyone who's read the books is screaming, "Oh, God, why?"
They said the thing. They said the thing.
God, why? Why?
Okay, Daniel talking shit to Lestat's head in the bag is really adorable. However, I do want to get your take on this because I've seen a lot of these comments. Why is Daniel so butthurt at Lestat in particular? Why does Daniel so easily fall into Armand's arms and take his side against Lestat and Louis in this season?
Well, I mean, he lays a lot of it out here, does he not? Where he says, you insulted me, you hired me to do this job, and then you dicked off into my camera, and like it is, and then the fuckery of the interview shit that he did. That was really, I think that Daniel's professionality got insulted. He felt like his reputation. You shouldn't treat a man of my stature who has done these things the way that you have. It is unprofessional. Fuck you.
I think there's a part of him that thought vampirism would solve all of his issues.
100%.
You think about where we see him at the end of season 2. He's done the interview. He's making millions on the book. He calls Louis, and he's in a very good place there, honestly, personally, except that it doesn't last, right? We see in this season, we see in Talamasca even a little hint of it, that Daniel is lonely, that Daniel gets this vampire loneliness shtick all of a sudden is for real, actually. What do I do with eternity now that I have it? Also, in his case, he feels small because he knows all the best vampires, right? Like the ones that he's connected to are Louis, Armand, and Lestat, who are all fucking hugely powerful. And so he's like, all I do is drink blood, actually. I'm a little stronger than a normal person, but that's about all I got going. So he's wandering. But I understand people that say that it's not enough. He does take a hard turn against them for, in the balance, actually some pretty petty shit.
I mean, yeah, but I think it's so driven by ego and then the fuckery of the previous 2 seasons, Like, he's not best buddies with Louis right now either,
Yeah. Somebody says, meanwhile, what does Daniel see in the mirror? Daniel's also relapsed, and that affects his judgment. That's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't think about the fact that in this universe, they do drugs and drink, and Daniel is, in fact, an addict.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. That's not a problem for Daniel Daniel's got his own problems that are different in the books than they are in the TV show, but yeah, good call. Good call. Daniel has relapsed. I didn't think about that.
Mandy says there's shots of his hands still shaking at times when he's filming. Yeah, I didn't like erase all of the damage that had been done to his body 100%. Is kind of the vibe I get too. Yeah.
Okay. For my Nikki rant, that went out recently as a social media clip, I felt particularly vindicated when Nikki says at the table, "Say, Nikki, I will never love you the way that you love me." And Louis cutting little ends. You got to say that shit a mile up in the air for it to stick. First of all, the excellent back and forth, so cutting for Lestat. Also, I like that Gabriella jumps in and defends him. He told you he loved you 1,000 times.
Well, there was some discussion earlier in the chat about Gabriella is the only one that defends him in these scenes, and it's very interesting and telling that he thinks that she would be the one that would defend him, you know?
Mandy mentioned, though, he says, "Thank you, mother," and she corrects him, "Lover." Fucking abusive, even when you're a self-projection from Lestat's in her head, still abusive.
And I feel like we probably haven't like unpacked a lot of that in our conversations about like how fucked up they've really skewed this relationship with Gabriella and how damaging it clearly has been, and how much it has caused so much of his grief and trauma in his life, you know, and that is worth saying, because it is definitely a change from the books, and it is this is a different Gabriella that we're dealing with, and it's weird to hear people, and I assume too for like for non-book readers, it's probably very strange to hear people say, "Oh, I love Gabriella. You know, I think she's an incredible character." You know, it sounds really fucked up that we're like remotely defending her at all. But
okay, the way that you, because earlier you said it, somebody had said in the chat that this Gabriella reads a lot like season 1 Lestat. Ashley, that was literally what Kelly said to me. We finished season 1 and she goes, "Why is Lestat your favorite character in literature?" And
monstrous.
I'm like, "You haven't met him yet, though.
You haven't met him yet." Yeah.
And I genuinely wonder if we're not going to get a visitation and an exploration of Gabriella in the same way. We don't in the novels.
Because she's not quite this manipulative.
No.
I mean, no, she is this manipulative. She is not a player in what's happening behind the scenes with Akasha and everything in the books. That's not.
Yes.
As far as I know. I still have
no. She just rides in and like picks him up. She rides into town and picks Louis and Lestat up in a convertible. Yeah. That's how she shows up at the concert.
At the end of this. Yeah. She didn't have anything to do with like the concert or anything like that. So this is a whole different dive into this character. And so I do think that if we ever have seemed like we have come across not being hard enough on Gabriella, just know this is a lot of gross, disgusting fucking grooming she's done. And yeah, no, it's not. It's fucking horrible.
I think, for me personally, I will say, I don't think I understood the full story they were telling with Gabriella until this episode, really. Like, I had seen it. I was like, man, they're really leaning on the fact that she manipulated him and set him up for a negative view on sexuality in his life that would feed a lot of the problems that he has.
She got handsy with her half-dead almost wolf-killed son.
Yeah, genuinely. Like, it's fucked
like,
up on so many levels.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, I didn't understand that it was like, it's genuinely part of the thesis of this season, is that Lestat is the way that he is because he was molded into this by his mother. And she did it purposefully for a reason that she thought was a pretty good one. It's fucking nuts in the end, the way that they all do it. Daniel's head through the ceiling. I do not want to overlook this, and we're right there at this moment. Daniel's head through the ceiling. First of all, we get the zip. Somebody had just said something about sex, and I thought we were going to see a penis or something. But we get a zip, and no, it's the top of the bag, and Daniel's talking to him. When he sticks his head through it, though.
So funny.
Just what a brilliant moment. And the effects were pretty good, but like, the combination of the severed head effects that we get in this episode, which are amazing. We see some of that behind the scenes, the way that they did that. It was really, really well done. And then Daniel's head through the ceiling over the long table. Like, if this is where a lot of the budget went, I get it. I get the choices you made. Honestly, they were good. Yeah. Oh, you've got a hole in your ceiling.
Oh, Jolie said it reminded me of being John Malkovich. 100%. It was
That's
such
a very good point.
in the midst of this trippy ass episode, which is quite trippy, we have the trippiest of trippy things happening, which is a fucking giant Daniel Molloy head dipping into the long table council.
Yeah. Okay. Why doesn't Alex speak? He says one thing in this whole episode. He says, I want to play the concert. But since he's been turned, he hasn't spoken. Basically, it doesn't seem like, to Lestat and the band, or speaks very little.
Right.
And in this episode, he doesn't speak to Daniel, even when spoken to directly. Daniel makes the joke about Gabriella giving you the autism
for your brother.
He's on the vampire spectrum. This is what he says to Raglan later about Alex. Why do you think he doesn't speak? What did you take from that?
Transformational trauma.
That's fair.
And I say that with a wink and a nod, kind of, and not related to Gabriella. But I do think that, Armand has done some fuckery here.
Okay, so he was Armand's boy, sort of. But he wasn't turned by Armand.
No.
He was turned by Gabriella.
But that also means Armand can still dick around in his head.
Armand can get in there. However, it also means that Alex could read from Armand that he killed Larry. Here's what I think. Here's the way that I read this whole episode. We'll talk about it. A little spoilers ahead for the rest of this episode. Y'all have all surely seen it. If you haven't, stop and go watch it. I think what happened here is that Alex was turned and excited, honestly. And I think he reached out to Armand telepathically in his, let me reach to my new friend. And I think he saw what happened. And I think he went immediately silent. I do think Armand was futzing with him. I think Armand told him to go and do things.
Okay.
I think Armand told him to be in the park, for instance. But I think Alex was with the Talamasca at that point. I think Alex reached out to Raglan. I think when Raglan says we had operatives watching in the park, I think Alex was the operative. I think when Daniel asks Alex specifically, did Armand send you here to watch me at the bowling alley? No. Raglan sent Alex to the bowling alley to make sure that the head doesn't go anywhere until we show up, to be an extra set of hands.
Yeah, I do think by this point he has got, and they say later, Lestat says later that they were very what did they say? Not very clear on Alex's role and everything,
Yes.
on
Raglan
the
was
bus.
very vague on Alex's role, I think is the way that he says it.
Circumspect about his role, No, I don't. Okay, I feel like Alex getting turned was probably part of Armand's plan.
I think it was going to be, but I think Gabriella and Lestat cut him off. I don't think Armand would have left it up to them to turn him. Eventually he'll turn the band.
I do, because
you really think that was his deal?
Yeah, I do. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, yes, I think that's hanging.
Because he says that he backdoored his way into that band.
Yes. I think that was Armand's plan. I think Armand thought Alex was his plant.
But he never made it seem like he was unsuccessful with his plan, is what I'm saying.
And I think Armand didn't know. I don't think Armand knows that the Talamasca is waiting for. The Talamasca is at the butchery.
No,
right?
I don't
mean
mean
that.
Rashid
is waiting to go in.
Yeah. I think I'm meaning more on the level of as far as the turning of the band, that is something that they were expecting. And Armand knew that when it happened, that then he could still talk to Alex and still manipulate Alex because he wasn't the one doing the turning.
Haviland says Armand did not want to do it himself. Good point. Armand
He
does
also
not
doesn't
like to make vampires.
He does not make vampires.
That's true.
That is not him.
And Yali points out Alex is not strong enough to get into Armand's mind. The Talamasca probably told him that Armand was the reason for Larry's death. That's fair. Make more, and they weren't going to turn the band. It's funny. Would make sense if they were also the ones watching. They watch even on Zoom. Lol. I guess that seems weird to me, though, that the Talamasca would be what I will say this. It would make sense, I suppose, that the Talamasca might fund Farid's research, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Hadn't thought about that. Hadn't thought about
110%.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting thought. We still want the concert to happen, but it would be nice to see how long these two fuckers can last without their heads, actually. That's a very interesting thought. Okay. Y'all are opening me up to some stuff here. Okay, another great line from Regina. I'm a lot of bad things, but I'm not like, I wouldn't have done it had I known he was full fiend, gonna cut you up like he done. Such beautiful fucking delivery here. We ain't coming out of this. We're gonna die.
She's
They're gonna
terrified.
sell a snuff tape film, Louis. Don't give it to us. I mean, genuinely, y'all, what a talented actor. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Can't wait to see her in Carrie. Fuck yeah.
She's so
yeah,
good.
she's gonna be great.
She's so good.
Armand says, I've known for some time Claudio was the aperture through which I could rip his innards out. What a fucking thing to say about your lover for 77 years he lived with this man. And he's like, I've known for some time. But Claudio was the aperture through which I could rip his innards.
If you're the one that's keeping score, if you're the one that's keeping score in a shitty relationship, then you're the one that wants revenge. That's why keeping score is never healthy. If you're keeping score in your relationship, stop that shit.
Haviland says, what about Armand saying Louis was his Claudia? Yeah, I thought that was one of the most vulnerable moments for Armand, honestly, admitting that he has a hole that big. Also, I think it's there for us in the series to realize somebody else might hold Louis over Armand's head in the future, actually.
Well, and also this too, like you're talking about, you are my torture. She is your torture. You are my torture. This unfinished business, this messy shit that we've done is my torture. You not loving me despite everything I tried to do for you.
Earlier in the season, there's a scene where Daniel and Armand confront each other in the bowling alley, and then Daniel chases him out of the bowling alley. Right before Daniel catches up to him, Armand makes a hand gesture, and two men walking near Armand immediately move away. People who've talked about it in the comment threads, you and I didn't discuss it on the show. My reading of that at the time was that Armand was literally just clearing the street.
Mm-hmm.
Armand can affect anybody around. Those two people didn't have to be acolytes of his. He just cleared the street so that he and Daniel could have some time. Now, I think those were two of his followers. Armand says, Nelson here. Nelson is one of my followers. I have about 100 now. Nelson, pick up that knife, rest.
It's such a fucked up cult leader thing. Oh my God, and he's right back to having a cult again.
He never stopped, it feels like, right? Like I imagine Armand has probably had a collection of Renfields in Dubai and in Miami at the fucking hotel that he owns that we don't know about yet, right? Like, yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. The guys that moved at Armand's, I said the guys that moved at his insistence earlier were probably other members of his following. Okay. Why doesn't Regina immediately slice her wrists wide open when he says rest to her? Do you read it as she is resisting or Armand is not giving her the
No,
same
I
signals?
read it as Louis is trying to keep it from happening.
Okay. Good call.
And that's how I read it. I read that Louis is fighting that. I
like that read a lot. I also would play into the idea that Louis gotten a level up here, and might be a more formidable opponent even with his head removed than he would be otherwise.
Yeah, because it's about getting, like, if he can talk to her, if he can get it in her brain just as much as even a little bit more than Armand is, because he's not making her safe. He's just staving it off. You know, she's still got it right the fuck here. The knife is still right there, you know.
Natty liked my Renfield's reference.
That is so funny.
I will say, okay, so somebody commented on YouTube. I don't think I've mentioned it on the show, but somebody commented on YouTube recently. Joel, I will happily and gladly accept that we are your butterscotch bitches. However, could I also ask that we be your beautifully unwell? And I did today, this morning, I was like, oh, we should change the intro again, maybe. after the next season of Mayfair, I guess, like when we're booting up for season 4 or something. And I was making myself a rhyme to go with Beautifully Unwell. If we were a Dracula show, I would call you all Renfields. I would absolutely call you all Renfields. Regina also says she doesn't want to do it, unlike Larry, who was so goddamn tired. You're right. It's like Daniel in the 70s. He was resisting. Very good point, Mandy. Regina does not want to die. Regina is, in fact,
She does
fighting.
not want to die.
Yeah.
She may have a messy life, but she wants to live it.
Okay. Paul was the biggest surprise of this episode, but Marco the Tenor was a pretty big one too, Ashley.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't have called that one.
No, did not see that coming and loved it, actually. Loved that being such an insidious torture for him. Ooh, that was messy. I loved it.
And he was standing right beside Lestat the whole time. I thought at first he was at the head of the table, but he's not. He's standing right beside Lestat, reading it at him.
And they're all just marking the notes. God, I loved it. I actually really loved that. Because that was one of the most just like unnecessarily cruel things he did just to spend his time. And that was real. That was real. That wasn't like, like regardless of how it might have been seen through Louis' eyes, he still did that. And it may have looked negative through Louis' eyes, but if you look at it through your eyes, it would probably be pretty fucked up too.
Okay, so he's critiquing Lestat's performance of When I Call Out Your Name, which, by the way, I want to mention, I said in the episode where this song was first featured, I knew there'd be a song about Marius. This song's about Gabriella. He literally says Gabriella's name like 16 times in it. I've not done my reactions to basically any of the songs since like episode 4. I've been busy getting ready for the end of this season, but I do want to do some more of those things. Oh yeah, Yali points out the tenor keeps pointing out that Louis was involved in his death.
And him. Yeah,
right.
he sure bitched about it being fucking heinous and hateful, but he sure ate him too, didn't he?
He's complaining about this performance of When I Call Out Your Name, though, a song about Gabriella, and he flirts with Gabriella and Gabriella flirts back. It's like, oh my God, how much torture can you do to yourself, Lestat?
Well, and that's the fucking thing is that, like, that is literally this is what's happening. This is his brain. This is his version of all these torture things that can torture him, that he uses to torture himself with. It just,
It's much more obvious in a few other parts of the episode, but the one that I noticed first was here. The waiter that is running the soundboard for them to play When I Call Out Your Name. She turns the sliders down when they're done critiquing it, but she has her fingers behind the sliders, whereas you would need them on the top to pull them down, right? Okay, it's because they're running the footage in reverse, and they do it a bunch of other times in the episode too. Things of Lestat's, whatever, he's walking backwards down a hallway. Yeah. The explosion of the car is going into the car instead of out of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this was the first, I was like, that's not the way sliders on a soundboard work. That's how I noticed it. Fitting, I suppose. Okay. We knew we were going to get there eventually. The witch's place. I love that we go back to the woods. They're walking through the woods. It's a mirror of when he was brought to the table. Now he's being brought to the witch's place. I also love that Gabriella walks up behind him to take his hand, and then she and young Lestat pass him. And Lestat is now behind them watching this all happen. It's really beautiful the way that they play all of this out. I also love that it leaves Gabriella and Lestat alone at the table for this conversation. What did you think about this scene?
Man, oh man. Well, I do think this is a moment where we see Gabriella from the book a little bit more clearly because of when she explains why she took him there. I want you to see who these people are. She didn't mean the witches. She meant the townspeople. She meant the people that are demanding these girls be killed. And she tells him the truth.
Literally I wrote those exact words, Ashley. I wrote those exact words in my notes. I love that you and I, 10 years in, we're very simpatico with our reads sometimes.
Yes. And that she says to him why each girl is being targeted, because there's a reason, there's a sin to hide, there's a secret, there's there's damage that has been done, and that is why this is happening. It has nothing to do with these girls. All of the abuses that we heap upon young women and women, it has so little to do with them and what they do, but what has been done to them,
Yeah. The music under this, the
Oh,
scoring under this scene
Christ.
is unbelievable. It's some of the best
Holy
in the
shit.
whole show.
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
so fucking good. And all she wanted him to do was see that and be brave enough to leave. And then the disappointment of him staying for 30 years.
Did you run? No. Did you stay home until you were 30? Cabbage. And y'all, she ain't wrong. I said it. I said it in the episode.
She's not even the one saying it. He's saying it to himself.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other thing, is this is his own recognition. This is his own recognition. He realizes it all here. The growth of Lestat in this episode is that's another reason why I think Rollin thought and said out loud, this could serve as a fitting end if we wanted it to. This season has given us the same level of understanding for Lestat of his self as Louis got in 2 seasons of Interview with the Vampire,
100%,
honestly. Yeah. Okay. Even the Marquis stayed home, Lestat says, which I hadn't thought about. One of his
and that's
shitty
something
brothers
he's
is
like,
there.
but my dad wasn't even shitty enough to make me come to this, and you did.
Or want to go himself. Even my dad didn't want to see these women burn.
Yeah.
The horrible, horrible man that he is, right? Okay. Lestat. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, we cut back to Raglan in the bowling alley after Lestat begins to scream. There were 1,600 of you when we met. Raglan is talking to Daniel. 290,000 now.
Y'all bitches have been
1.3 meals per day. Okay, Ashley, what's so funny is literally yesterday, I got a comment on an older post of ours, an older social post, and I went to look at the video to see what they were commenting about because the comment was interesting. And the video was us discussing the Prince Lestat novel, in particular, a section where they talk about the number of vampires before the cataclysmic events of the Prince Lestat novel. And you and I backfill and guess, based on that number, how many vampires were there at the beginning of the Queen of the Damned novel, or the end, I should say, of the of the Vampire Lestat novel. How many vampires were there before the Great Burning that created Magnus, et cetera, et cetera. The number you and I came up with, based on the Prince Lestat novel, was 5K. 5,000 vampires worldwide was supposed to be a cataclysmic event, too many to handle, caused problems in universe. 300,000 vampires?
That's so many more than we thought would be troublesome.
What the fuck are you going to do with 290,000 vampires? Genuinely. He says it. He says more deaths a night than births. More deaths every day than births. That's a tipping point.
That is a tipping point, friends.
Okay, but we know, and he says it here, we know the Talamasca is behind this, at least partially. That short-lived TV series that AMC sort of wants to act like doesn't exist. I don't know why. I'm like,
I loved it.
It's a major. We both enjoyed it. First of all, the critics didn't hate it. And also, this season seems directly informed by it, at least in parts. Like, genuinely, Raglan's mission here calls directly to what happens at the end of Talamasca, where they're like, make more. The leader of the Talamasca is, let's make more vampires at the end of the Talamasca series.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why they abandoned it. I really don't get. I'm more confused now than I was.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it served its tiny purpose, and they were like, "What's next?"
Okay, I like that Daniel asked, "You roll, Raglan?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm a mentor for the junior league, actually." Also came for a particular outdoor concert. Didn't purchase event cancellation insurance. We want the bag. I love Justin Kirk's delivery so fucking much as Raglan James.
Oh, he's so
perfect.
And now that I've seen him in other things, because I really hadn't seen him in much before this, now that I've seen him in other things, I like him even more. Like, I am all in on him. I will be actively enjoying his performances from now on.
Okay, Louis writes again. Louis writes another note, but he tells Armand off. He does not apologize. He writes a bunch of, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, I'm sorry for, but it's not sorry for Armand. Never. Never forgave you for Paris. Not even now. Nope. Never, can't, won't. Then what are you sorry for? And his answer, is the first time I cried in this episode, I'm fairly certain. The love of my life was him. Why did he say that in answer to what are you sorry for? I'm sorry I told you otherwise. I'm sorry I told him otherwise. I'm sorry I told Daniel otherwise. The love of my life was Lestat. That's what I'm sorry for. Okay. I love this exchange. Raglan says, we want him to play the concert. Alex says, I want to play the concert.
Yeah.
Alex wants to play the concert.
Let's give Alex what he wants. Yeah, I mean, clearly Alex is in cahoots with the Telemaska by this point, which is fine by me.
A good question here from Haviland. Okay, do you guys think Louis ever loved Armand? I'm going to let you answer that first. Do you think Louis ever really loved Armand?
I do. Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I think that Louis loved Armand as much as Louis could love Armand. And I think that Armand could love Louis as much as Louis could love Louis could as much as he could be loved, you know? Yeah. Like, I do think that, like, we meet people at different times in our lives for different reasons. And I don't think, I mean, none of these characters would be who they are if they hadn't had these experiences with these particular people. So, I mean, I do think he loved him, but I do also think it's very, very true that he could never forgive him after Paris. I think that trying to pretend that he could forgive him after what happened to Claudia was a lie he told to himself. There's no way he could possibly forgive him for that.
Timea says Louis loved the idea of loving Armand. Yes.
Yeah,
Louis fell in love with a vampire who gave him the lead seat of the relationship. A vampire older and more powerful than Lestat.
Who gave him answers, who answered his questions, who, you know... Yeah, but no, and Mandy Taylor says, but he never ever meant Armand the love of my life. Not a second when he was saying it, and I agree with that. 100%.
Not 1 second.
No, I think that you can love a lot of people and them not be the love of your life.
Yeah. Melissa Marie in the Facebook group. I didn't say this earlier. Alex apparently can't speak, or we thought so at least early, until he tells Raglan, "I want to play the concert." Alex can't bowl for sure. He bowls a 0 with Daniel.
Daniel's having a fairly decent game. Daniel's playing a pretty
Daniel's a roller for sure. He's throwing rocks tonight. Melissa Marie says, I must shout out Alex using the bowling name Boo Radley. Are they playing or is this something there? And Jane says, I thought that was a To Kill a Mockingbird reference, although I'm not sure why the reference. And Melissa says it is a To Kill a Mockingbird reference. I'm trying to figure out the possible significance. Okay. Andrea says, I think Daniel set that as Alex's bowling name to make fun of him. And I finally joined the conversation at this point. I said, yes, that's it, exactly. Mm-hmm. So Alex, since he's been turned, he's been wearing this fucking mask, right? This ghostly, it's like a white vampire mask, but it is a ghostly Halloween mask.
Dracula.
So he's Dracula. Boo, as in he's Boo Halloween, but also Boo Radley. Why? The character of Boo Radley, like think about To Kill a Mockingbird. The character of Boo Radley is, first of all, doesn't speak basically almost at all, often accused of watching in a creepy fashion from a distance, right? Also, and this is what I think is most telling, Boo Radley is not guilty of anything. Boo Radley is accused. Boo Radley is painted with the brush of villainy. Boo Radley is innocent and actually was there to help and watch over the kids, saves them, in fact, to a degree, right? Boo Radley is not a villain. Boo Radley is painted as a villain. I think in the end, we're going to find out Alex was more involved in the rescue of Lestat and Louis than we think.
Booyah.
That's my answer there. Yeah. Also, it's another reminder that Daniel is literary as fuck and he's trying to be funny and make fun of Alex, but he only does that with high-level fucking references.
Yeah. Which is, again, my thing about just being fucking offended by, like, not being taken seriously for who he actually is, you know?
Man, when we cut to Louis and he says, even his eyes are rolling apart. Even now, still thinking about him. Louis loses his motor function. Armand tells him to just use telepathy. I'm going to repeat so that we can keep your last words, basically. We cut back to Raglan, and he says, there was a meeting at the G7. It was called May the Vamps Safely Graze. I thought this was hilarious. The idea that the world leaders are talking about the vampiric problem.
In such fucking MAGA-coded language.
Also, though, like, we know enough about the actual secret behind-the-scenes shit at this point to know this would in fact happen. There would in fact be a G7 meeting called May the Vamps Safely Graze. Bargains would be made with Armand. That's the way this would fucking work. Like,
we'll send you off to little towns where we need the population decimated.
Let us give you the metadata on some specific demographics that we would like eliminated, actually.
No way. Fucking, I will say the idea of, like, weaponized vampirism is horrifying.
Strongly agree. But that's sort of what we're getting a hint of here.
I mean, it is.
Raglan says that I don't think you will lead. That's not the way that this is going to work. They don't believe that vampires are going to take over the universe, but this could be useful, a useful tool for control and management of the population. Also, though, okay, we get a big hint here towards Memnock and other things. Evidence of the soul's existence.
Yeah, this is exciting and interesting, though. I love it. You know, like, we're proving that the soul exists right now while Louis and Lestat are detached from their heads and still alive.
No biological rationale for head here, body there. That's a great way to put it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and to it, like, it addresses the true, like, that actually is the true mission of the Talamasca, is to explore things like that, you know? It's how the fucking Talamasca came to be. Thanks, Pandora.
Yes. Allie says, hence towards Tell the Body Thief, obviously, with it being Raglan bringing it up. Yeah. He even says to Daniel, you and I both have our own reasons. And Daniel's reason he's giving him is the existence of the soul. Wouldn't Daniel be interested in that? But for Raglan, I think his reason is unstated. I think he wants that body back together for his own purposes. Meaning beyond mortality, wonder returned, Raglan says. Okay, that makes me think of the end of Memnock and Veronica's veil and, like, Doris and everything that she does with her mission. Like, there's a revival in the world, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, we're hitting towards all sorts of shit here.
It's so funny that makes you think of that, because I think of that as such a mania. I think of that as such a religious mania, you know, like, that you consider that, like, something awesome and positive. And I'm like, oh, everybody just went crazy. Our mom went into the sun.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
We do know from the end of the episode that Raglan makes it out seemingly just fine from this bowling alley. However, Daniel pulls his fangs. It seems like Daniel's going to fight Raglan and these other, which, by the way, the other people that Raglan brings in, those are vampires. Don't you believe? Wasn't that your assumption?
Well, I would assume it's some combination.
Of them, at least.
It's some combination of Talamasca and affiliated.
You got a handful of secret forces.
Talamasca and affiliated persons, you know?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But you would not come to fight Daniel potentially to get that bag without the backup appropriate to do so.
Yeah, and I know Daniel. I don't think Daniel under no circumstances thinks he's going to be able to win a fight for that bag. He's just literally showing his fangs to be like.
Oh, Haviland points out it's still daytime. Isn't it still daytime at that point? I think they're right. There are way too many daywalkers, if that's true, for my liking. It's actually making me mad. Okay, I will say, though, we already know from Interview with the Vampire, you don't have to be a daywalker to be awake in this universe during the daytime. You have to be a daywalker to be out. So if these vamps are going from the car to the building with the helmet on, for instance, or something like that, I think think about Blade. The Deacon Frost moved around with his motorcycle helmet on all the time, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they got their heads cut off. It was night. It was dark.
Yes, it was nighttime when they but he's in the day. We see him carrying the bowling bag in the daytime. It's morning, and we hear Lestat say something about the morning sounds of Montreal, and then the guy at the bowling alley says, "Oh, you got here before the wife woke up, huh?"
Oh yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna go then again. I probably think it's more Talamasca than vampires, because I cannot absolutely accept that there's that many vampires running around in the daylight.
Okay, that's fair. But the point is, though, I think we're supposed to question how that resolved. I think that is a dangling thread for us.
Yeah.
Is Daniel injured? Did he get killed? Did he harm anybody? Was Raglan harmed in that in some fashion that we don't know about, etc.?
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to wonder.
I'm sure we're supposed to. I didn't bite it that hard because I was like, I think he's just like literally showing his fucking teeth before they take this bag and go.
It was literally just a rar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a rar.
Effectively. Okay.
I'm so frustrated. I'm so rar. But I suppose something horrible fighting could have happened. I mean, who knows?
Can I talk about the fact that the thing that pissed me off the most about Armand probably in this episode is the fact that he shares everyone's pain with others except his own? When we finally get personal for Armand, he jams the camera down onto the floor and shuts the laptop and shuts off the live stream. This is done now. This is just for us in the room now. Once Louis is actually talking about him, once we get personal, once Armand's feelings are involved, this isn't for the outside world. And I was sort of like, fuck you, Armand, actually. You need a love that'll cradle you. You should have that. And I was never that for you. And I'm sorry. Louis finally does say I'm sorry to Armand for something. We find out what it is. You need a love that cradles you. You deserve that. You should have that. First of all, Louis is we talk about Lestat's growth through this season. Louis's growth here is pretty significant, I would say. I think he means this. I don't think this is him just trying to talk his way off the skewer.
I agree.
The skewer.
I agree because I think regardless of whether or not he thinks his head is going to get reattached to his body, he feels okay about saying that and giving that to Armand.
Yeah. Armand wanted the trophy of apology, not an actual connection. Ooh. Timea says I didn't buy this for a second at all.
Oh.
Timea, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I think Armand genuinely was touched in this moment. They talk about it in the After Dark and in the Backstage Pass. Louis had never addressed with Armand the fact that I was a pimp and you were a sex slave. And Armand had never maybe even reckoned with that exactly. I really don't think he had. I think he was surprised in this moment by Louis. Maybe his intention was never to let Louis die, in fact. Maybe he figured I'll get Louis to say what I want and I'll let Louis go, if not Regina. But I think he ended up on the back foot. I think he walks out of this room disheveled. I think Armand goes and has his own little cry once he gets away from these guys.
100%. I think that this went a way he didn't quite expect it to. And I think that the apology hit him in his broken places where he does feel hurt and where he does know that his damage happened and that the damage he continues to cause comes from. I do think it was a pretty genuine moment for Armand. I mean, Louis is in complete duress, so like, but I do think that part of that apology was owed and was genuine. That you should be loved by someone who loves you, truly loves you. That is a good apology to give someone who you have loved poorly.
The thing that did it, I think, in the end, was I saw good in you for a while. I saw good in you for a while. I got to tell you, the question was asked earlier, did Armand ever really love Louis? I think the answer was yes. And anyone that I ever loved telling me that I'd have to pause my show. I'd have to get up and walk away. I'd have to take that gummy and a smoke break, Ashley, like we talked about earlier. That'd be a moment. I'd need some time there. Oof. Okay.
Well, it's something that rarely comes to pass in a relationship where things go really, really sideways, that you ever have a conversation much later where you acknowledge the damage that was done and that you did and that was done to you. And the other person acknowledges the damage that they did to you and that was done to them, you know?
Yes, 100%. Okay, Louis outlining his own mistreatment of Lestat to Lestat is pretty hilarious. He's like, I slit his throat, and I did this, and I did that, and I did the other thing. Like, I thought that was funny. Mm-hmm. It's one of the few moments at the table, other than Gabrielle, where there's any grace for Lestat to a degree.
Yeah, I do love in the after. Well, one of the post episode shit. This is what happens when we watch all
they
together.
bleed together.
It all just blends together. But he talked about being back in that suit, being back in Louis' burgundy suit, and like how much he loves that suit and feels like Louis in it, and that it feels like a specific version of Louis, and how easy it was to kind
Yes.
of slide back into that. Like that's like the magic of a really perfect costume. I loved that little tidbit.
Okay, if you like the more Frankenstein aspects of this episode in particular, Fareed's discussion of joining the neck back
Ooh.
together to the body, that is straight out of the book. Marius, there's a great scene in Blood and Gold in particular. Marius and Mael are involved in it, and this is exactly how it's described. All we're doing is holding it in place while the blood
While it heals.
fixes it.
Yeah. Because
very,
Mael
very cool. Very
gets cut
accurate.
to bits. Mael got cut.
He gets cut all up.
He got cut to bits.
Okay, your whole damn life a failure. I love that we build to this crescendo and then time runs out. And then Lestat hits snooze. Fuck you, eternity. Actually, fuck you, death. Actually. And he stands on the table, claps. The Vampire Lestat, one life only. First of all, beautiful, right? Fucking amazing. But this is, to me, Rollins' statement. I said at the beginning, but Rollins stands on this fucking table and looks Mark Johnson and looks his bosses at AMC and looks the fucking critics and looks book purists right in the eye. Says, I think I was pretty fucking great, actually. It was a pretty good life. I tried something. Yeah, did you ever try anything? I don't think most of you have ever tried anything, actually.
Nothing this hard.
I love, it's so Lestat, too. It is so accurate to the character to have taken all of this self-reflection and then go, nah, it was pretty good.
He took all the self-reflection and then turned it into a stage in an alley, surrounded by his own posters of himself, surrounded by people he has harmed that are wearing his fucking merchandise, like it's wildly egotistic. It's wildly egotistic.
Yes.
It's so Lestat.
Okay. He says at the beginning of the concert scene, all of you here are someone I killed, someone I made, or someone I emotionally harmed in a significant way. There has been some confusion in the various comment threads that I've seen people talking about, wait a minute. Why is Paul in that final scene? Does that mean that Lestat killed Paul? Y'all, canonically, Lestat had nothing to do with Paul's death. Do not put that shit. That's not in the book. Anne said he didn't. Anne never said Anne specifically said, no, Lestat did not kill Paul. Rollin has said, no, Lestat did not kill Paul. Sam has said, no, Lestat did not kill Paul. Paul is here. I think there are various interpretations for Paul's appearance in this scene, but even if you just go by the opening line from Lestat, there are three groups of people here. People he made, people he killed, people he emotionally harmed. He emotionally harmed Paul.
100%.
He destroyed this family life that Paul had with Louis, which wasn't stable, but it wasn't going to fail immediately because Louis became a vampire.
But I also do think that Paul is not necessarily there because he harmed Lestat, but because he's there because he's who Lestat needs to see and hear at that moment,
Yes. Okay. I said in the comment thread, and I'm going to skip down to that too, because we brought Paul into it. But I said Paul was sent from heaven. Y'all, first of all, before Paul ever appears, Lestat's time his snooze has already run out. He has begun to fail, he says. He is falling onto the stage. He is stumbling over his words. The light has appeared from the ceiling, and then we see Paul walking up. First of all, as he's walking down the catwalk toward Lestat, I kept saying to Kelly, who is it? It's not Louis. That's not a Louis suit. It's not a woman. It's not Claudia. It's not Gabriella. It's not Akasha. It's not Marius. It's not tall enough. I had no idea until he sits. We see the face, and there it is. It's Paul. It's so fucking beautiful. Paul was heaven sent, though.
What a sweet person to take you into the next life, Someone who's going to reassure you that you were loved so well.
Okay,
and make an apology. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Make an apology. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
To make an apology for the love of your life not being able to tell you that, and to reassure you about that. And then to gently guide you the way that Paul seems to be ready to take Lestat with him. It's just beautiful.
So Haviland says, why does Lestat get a messenger from heaven, but Claudia doesn't? So first of all, I don't know that we know that Claudia didn't get a messenger from heaven. We don't know what happened to Claudia. We know what we think happened to Claudia. We believe that somebody was angry at them. And we've said in the discussion of the seance scene, I think a lot of the sentiments expressed there were true. We don't know. We don't know what Claudia's exit is. And so I would hesitate to say, as Rollin said yesterday, y'all are talking about purgatory. Y'all talking about hell. I never said that.
Well, never said that yet, even this, you say heaven sent, but is it more of like an illusion that a gift that we give ourselves as we go into the afterlife,
So chemically speaking, when the human body breaks down, when the human brain dies, it dumps DMT, and you were having a DMT hallucination, is what the long lit tunnel is, y'all. However, Rollin specifically says in the after show, one of the first questions I asked myself when I took this job on was, do they have souls? Mm-hmm. Even as I wrote like the first episode, do they have souls? And could I write something that I'm not even sure that I believe in real life? Rollin does not really believe in an afterlife. Could I write that? I think he is writing an afterlife here. If you're going to do Memnoch, there's got to be an afterlife of some sort.
For sure.
Right?
For sure. And I think it's fine for this to be ambiguous too. Like it's, however you interpret it.
Somebody says, wasn't Claudia and Merrick Honey in the Sunshine being a bitch? So no, Tania, not necessarily. Merrick says that she does not believe that was Claudia. She believes that thing might have thought it was Claudia, might have believed itself to be Claudia. But she also says whether it was Claudia or not, that it was lying, at least about some of the things that it says. But I don't think there is a direct insinuation, and there's definitely not proof that it is Honey in the Sunshine. Although good call to Honey in the Sunshine is a great character that exists. Y'all go read Merrick. It's a pretty good novel.
Fucking nightmare of a spirit.
Okay. We skipped forward to Paul, but let's talk through him in earnest here, because the speech that he gives is, I've cried 3 separate times watching this scene. He had a hard time saying it. Got that from our daddy. Doesn't mean he doesn't. It's just his way. Thank you for loving him the way that he needs to be loved. I still wish you were a woman.
I love it.
Me too sometimes.
What a bomb.
Me too sometimes. I can't imagine a more peaceful conclusion for Lestat if that had been his end. And I love the resolution for Paul. You and I talked about it when they made Paul such a big part of that first episode, that we loved it because Paul is a limited part of the novels, but an important part for you and me, at least, when we read it. And he doesn't come back. We don't have any scene like this in the novels. Right. But boy, it seems so fitting. It seems like one that Anne really should have been mad she didn't come up with it, I think.
Yeah, I really loved it. I really loved it. It was a beautiful touch. And I love, in the midst of all of that anger and shame, that fucking shame that Lestat's feeling, he gets this moment of beauty and understanding and love.
Yeah. Lestat says silver threads stretched out over other threads. Okay, so he mentions the silver threads when Louis has attacked him in season 2, or season 1, the end of season 1. We've heard the silver threads mentioned before. This is straight out of Anne. This silver threads, network of silver threads connecting the vampires together is real. It's in the novels, and I love that they bring it in here. I love the fact that Paul is listening to Birdsong and translating for us.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that God is a woman. Yes, ma'am. He says, yes, ma'am. Paul wakes Lestat up. That's why I say he's heaven sent. Paul picks up the phone and turns off the alarm. And Lestat says, would you believe that the first thing I remember is waking up in my tour bus? Yes, we would believe it. That's exactly what happened.
100%.
And And Paul sent you there. Paul sent you there. That's why I say he's heaven sent. I 1,000,000% believe that to be the case. Okay, some good stuff about Miss Lily. Somebody says, "Where is Miss Lily? I wanted that loose end tied up too."
Oh,
Haviland, Miss Lily was one of my favorites, but I think she was a simple stepping stone for Lestat. Would have been interesting instead of Enzo, but I loved the Enzo detail. Okay, y'all, somebody in the comments tell me if you know. Enzo's not from the books, is he? I don't remember the name Enzo anywhere in the books. A lot of people wondered if our Fedora man was going to be Roger from Men Not the Devil.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing.
For a second, Tom says, when Paul addresses ma'am, I thought it was Akasha.
That would be a fucking move.
Okay, there's that great line from the Avengers movie where Captain America says, "There's only one God, ma'am," and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. Yeah, that would be Paul's response to that if Akasha was like, "Let me speak to you as God." There's only one God, sir. And it's her in the light in the sky.
Not this her.
Okay, Jolie says, I don't remember Enzo from the book either, but it did make me think of Roger. I do think there may be more to Enzo, and I think maybe Enzo may be a muse that comes back. I think that may have been planted for us. I do think we are supposed to wonder about the nature of that. Maybe it's just a little something there for us. Okay. Backing up just a little bit because we skipped something here. Where did I skip it? I said it already. In the end, I think I was pretty fucking great. If I failed, at least I tried. That's Rollin. That's Rollin's note to us. He's just telling us right there. Okay. Oh, there's one good line from Lestat. Says, he says, I did my part. Well, it's not true. I let too much spill too often. I didn't always honor it. Talking about the blood. I like that. Honoring the blood is something that's been mentioned a couple of times, and that is very frequent reprisal in the novels, is the idea of honoring the blood. Okay. 45,000 vampires and 10,000 beautifully unwell mortals outside this bus waiting for the concert, Ashley.
It's a hell of a show, kids.
We were worried about the 290,000 vampires in the world, but 45,000 in Montreal is a problem.
Are all there in one place. Yeah. I think things might get messy. I don't know about y'all. This concert might not end well.
Knowing Rollin, could Enzo just be a nod to the Godfather? Timea! How did I fucking forget Enzo is the baker's son? Yes, I mean the baker's son-in-law, but yes. Or no, Enzo is the baker's name, isn't it? Enzo the baker. Oh, cake, it's like this, like that. Yes, fucking yes, the Godfather. That's right. Oh, I forgot. Is Rollin a big Godfather? Rollin and I are destined to date, I think, sometime in the future, perhaps. I know Rollin is also a straight man that is married, but I don't care. Rollin, call me, baby. We got things in common.
We got things to talk about. Let's have a nice soul supper chat.
Yeah, Timea points out Enzo was even carrying a brightly wrapped package. Yes, fucking yes. It's a Godfather reference. Okay, I'm so crazy, y'all. I can't believe I missed that one. All right. I love the fact that we open this scene in the bus and we don't hear the audio. We hear Lestat's narration all the way until he starts fussing at Gabriella. That's the first time. I guess this is you. And he starts confronting her. And then it's just constant yelling over each other back and forth and back and forth. I know some people were sad that we didn't hear him say, "Where is Louis?" because his delivery there would have been fantastic for sure.
But I love it. It's kind of like not hearing the conversation in the storm.
It's like poetry. It rhymes, y'all. Yes. Okay. He says, "I am not fucking singing, you fucking monster." Hard cut. Ashley, how could they not give us the concert? How could they not even let us see him take this? I mean, I know the reason is because they couldn't afford it, but why? How did Rollin take this to AMC and go, "No, this will work fine. It's going to be good"?
It's because as Ola, as Mark says, we don't have any prime directive from AMC about how we do these shows. So we just do them and here we go.
It's just so brilliant. We're back in the Montreal townhouse. The failures are being recorded. Lestat's in his depression kimono from the end of season 2.
But there's a new one. It's fresh.
Yeah, it's a different kimono. You're right.
It's
yes, but I'm saying,
but yes,
he has a style for a period in his life.
Yeah,
yes.
we all should have a depression kimono night where we do a live chat for depression kimonos.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to film an episode of Rose Sinister's podcast with her on August 4th. I'm going to be in New Orleans. I'm going to be up on the balcony, and I have to dress up for it because
August, on a balcony in August?
Yes. She and her partner, Czarina Hellfire, they both wear vampy glam gear. And at first I was like, oh, I had a night, which by the way, what I have come up with, I think y'all are going to be so proud of me. But I thought for a minute, I need to find a nice depression kimono, and that could work. Actually, I did not. I think what we came up with is better. Anyway, okay. He says, "Do you hate me? Do you smoke? Have I made you feel how I felt in the spring, summer, and fall of 2025? Am I talking to myself?" I love Sam here in this final scene so fucking much.
Offering that
He's done
cigarette
so much for us.
to
no one.
To no one. I wanted to take it and smoke it, frankly.
It's so amazing. Okay, Rollin gets it wrong in the After Dark, by the way. Rollin says at one point in the After Dark episode, record 66 is where we stop. There are 50 plus left to go, and Lestat is now accepting responsibility. That's not true. I marked it. Album 58, side A, is the one that
is the last one we hear.
So he stops a recording, and then we hear the beginning of album 58, side A, as he walks onto the balcony. The regretful dead and the traumatized alive, the fault was mine, all mine. Okay. Ooh, he says summer, spring, and fall out of order. That felt like a nod to his fractured experience. That's a good point. I think it might just be more lyrical too, summer, spring, fall. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. He did say it out of order, though. That's interesting. Okay. Album 58, side A, the regretful dead and the traumatized alive, the fault was mine, all mine. That's the last line of the show, basically, so far. Here's my book theory. We talked about in the last discussion the line, I, Amel, digress. Ashley, if he is, in fact, at this moment in album 58, side A, the sacred core of vampirism, then he can't go onto the balcony in the sunlight. Right? He would burn everybody, I'm saying. Louis is in the other room burning if he does that.
I mean, would he? Yeah. Yeah. What are the rules anymore? I don't fucking know. Everybody's a daywalker now. We're fucking Blade out in these streets. I'm just kidding.
No, but we know in the 1800s.
We can't put the
Marius
queen
left them out in the sun and they all burned.
Yes,
yeah, everybody burned. So if he's the sacred core, he can't be out on that balcony in Montreal. So I'm saying either that recording was out of order. Now I'm going to go back and see what album do we get referenced there, maybe. But I'm saying I don't believe that what we are going to get at the auction will in fact be Prince Lestat. I think what we're going to get at the auction will be the end of Queen of the Damned and moving into Tale of the Body Thief. The other thing that I want to point out is, if we're going to do Tale of the Body Thief, or if we're even going to leave ourselves open to do that if they renew the show long enough, you can't have a body switch with the core of vampirism. That's
dangerous.
That won't work.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous enough to put somebody else into Lestat's body, but to switch bodies with Lestat, if he is also the center of all vampirism, that makes no sense. So you've got to do those stories in that order. That's my thing there. Okay, there's a couple of notes here in responses to that, and I want to hear what people have to say about it. Akasha standing in the sun was one of my biggest bugbears of the Queen of the Damned movie back in the day. Yes, strong agree. Here was hearing Amel before he was hearing Amel before he took in the core.
Yes, that's true.
Very good point, Tania. Very good point. Let's see. There was something else.
He and everybody the fuck else too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, yeah, somebody's talking about the grammar there. Yeah, I think that was all the responses there. Okay, anyway, that's my big thing is yes, we're further ahead than we sort of like the auction already put us on tilt, and we're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
we're going way ahead again. We're not as far ahead as we might have worried, though. I'm telling you that Rollin does a lot. I know Rollin said he doesn't write the lore well. Rollin does know the lore, though. He did not put Prince Lestat in the sun at the end of this episode. That's all I'm saying. There you go.
Thank goodness. Let's not.
All right. I got a question for you, Ashley. Who is the butterscotch bitch?
Lestat.
When I first heard the song, when I first heard the song, I said it's Lestat. Yep, Lestat, period, Lestat. Then I heard the song in the context of the show, and I decided, actually, I think he's talking about Gabriella. Okay. We know from the Prince Lestat novel, though, that Amiee sees himself as very similar in appearance to Lestat. When Amiee physicalizes, when Amiee sees himself in the mirror, he sees himself as Lestat. What if the butterscotch bitch is the center of vampirism, actually?
I mean, Lestat thinks he's the center of vampirism because he could have written about it himself, and it'd also be about Amiee.
The fact that first of all, am I wrong that we never got that song in the show?
No, you're not.
We got it released as a single.
We've not gotten that song in the show in full. It's the one that he kept starting every single time during this episode.
And then we get it over the credits, but we never see him perform it in the show. And so I think that has resonance. I think that has importance. And I'm wondering now if I said to Kelly the other day, like speculating on this and rolling it around in my head, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, could the butterscotch bitch be Akasha? And Kelly goes,
absolutely. You don't call a queen a bitch? My God.
No, she points out that would be a I'm bad about candies. That would be a caramel bitch, Joel. That is not, butterscotch is not that color. Butterscotch is blonde. I was like, oh, good point. Okay, I don't eat butterscotch or caramels, so I don't know.
I think the butterscotch bitch is our beloved brat prince.
I think that's fair. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I just, that's the vibe I've gotten from the beginning for that particular song.
When Lestat opens his balcony doors in that final scene, when I watched it the first time especially, I said, oh, he's overlooking, like, with the ruins we're seeing in the foreground are the top of the building that he is in, and we're seeing like the rooftop and then the crashed next tower connected to him. No, we're looking across the street.
It's absolutely like destruction. Mayhem.
It's across the street, and the building that the band was in, living right across the street from him, that's the building that is destroyed. On the sidewalk or the street in front of that building, by the way, is written the words, "She is the answer," written very loud, very largely on the street.
Good zoom in there, bud.
I know somebody else did that and they were like, did you see the stuff on the sidewalk? I was like, what sidewalk? I had to look at it 3 times before I realized like what I was looking at.
Where you were. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing, though, that I want to point out about that scene, though, is the world is not destroyed. First of all, his apartment still has power. He has electricity seemingly in his apartment because the lights are on and he's recording. Also, we hear sirens in the distance, and there's at least one vehicle moving in the distance as well in that scene. So, like, the world is not destroyed. There have been massive amounts of damage and destruction.
This could be literally right after Gabrielle snatches him and Louis up into a car and takes them away. You know, like we don't.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay.
It has to be further along than that. It has to be further along than that, but still, you know, like it doesn't have to be that far.
I think he's recording it
in the future
after the resolution of the Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
Now, it might be within days or weeks of the final summit of the elders at the end of that novel, but I think it's pretty tight on there. Yeah. Okay. That's another reason why I say I think we're going to get expansion of this thing. Y'all, you cannot tell the story of the Queen next season without giving us other elder vampires. Some of the first brood. Maybe they don't give us the twins exactly like we get in the books, but you've got to give me at least an episode or 2 that fully explains how Amiee came into the Queen in the first place. Why there was this why did she end up on that slab frozen for centuries?
Even not going back that far, I need some more explanation about what the fuck is going on with Marius.
Yes. How long was Lestat in charge? What happened to Akasha after Lestat left him? Who has been in charge of Akasha all that time since? Has anybody else ever bothered Marius?
What drove Marius to that level of madness that he seemed to be at, which is very un-Marius.
There's also those unknown figures on the bus with Louis before Lestat runs in to see him. There were people in the room with Louis? I don't remember that now that I think about it.
Well, it's because you were just focused on that dramatic love reunion.
Right. I thought it was so. Sam says it in the After Dark too. The way that they just immediately fall into
each other, literally, figuratively, right next to each other. They're still like, I do love too, though, that there's a separation between them. They're on either side of like a bar, like a separation in the seating.
Yes.
So I think that that's kind of telling and cool too. But yeah, I love it. I loved it.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of things from the backstage pass real quick. Both of the guys find their prosthetic heads very disturbing.
Yeah. Well, and this, I mean, it seemed like this isn't Jacob's first prosthetic head. Also,
I think did he get his head? Have one on?
I don't know if he got his head.
I don't think he got beheaded, but I do think he had a prosthetic head in Game of Thrones.
But yeah, he was like, there's lots of my heads running around town. I don't know how I feel about that. I loved it. And also, that's a very uncomfortable process, too. Like, when actors have to do that.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
I mean, they tape your eyes up. They put straws in your nose.
So you can breathe.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. If you're claustrophobic, I'm imagining is one of the worst things that can happen to you, honestly.
The only saving grace would to know you'd have a really cool version of your head that you can toss around anywhere when you want.
Delaney says about Armand, I was going to swear then. Armand is a scary, scary man. Armand is a fucking scary man.
I mean, what he does to Regina is just unbelievably fucked up.
It's just... And the casual nature of him just deciding, let me find a replacement for this.
The fact that he knew it would work, too, is pretty fucked up. Who does that say?
I have known for some time that Claudio was the aperture through which I could pull out his innards.
Yeah. Ugh. And that Louis, yeah, it's just,
Okay, they say very specifically the world that we see from the balcony, this is a post-Akasha, post-destruction of the world. He's very responsible. He woke the queen. That's what Sam says. Okay, I think that is pretty clear. Also, I think the level of devastation that actually happens is going to be greater in the TV show than it is in the novel. In the novel, there are some isolated incidents, mostly within the vampiric community, actually. The incidents that involve mortals are pretty sparse until the resolution of things. It would have gotten out of hand almost immediately, except that everybody came together and they did something about it, But I think here maybe it's going to be worse for the world at large.
I mean, maybe we deserved a little bit. I don't know.
Why do you think Armand lets Regina go? Haviland asks.
Because she was literally just a tool to get what he wanted.
I agree. She had zero value for Armand either way.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end...
And he knows he can let her go and she's not going to talk because girlies that talk get hurt.
Bad things happen to girlies that talk. Exactly. But so he got the apology from Louis, which is all that he wanted. Haviland points out he's breaking the laws, though. Okay. Yeah, but first of all, he was going to break the laws because he was going to kill 2 vampires. Armand's not their coven leader. Armand's not Louis and Lestat's coven master. He doesn't have the power of life and death over either one of them.
Except he has been Louis' maitre.
He was never Lestat's coven master, though. Laws for thee and not for me, Mandy says.
Mandy Taylor, that is the fucking law of the goddamn patriarchal
Armand is
land.
The worst.
Y'all, if things don't perk up this year, I'm going to be real pro-Akasha.
I'm going to be pretty pro-Akasha anyway.
Pretty tired.
I got a list.
I'm pretty tired of laws for thee and not for me.
I got a list for her. Okay, Asad says about the butcher scene, we had so much fun in there.
Dare you? How dare you? But I do see the absurdity of it. There's a huge level of absurdity in filming something like that, where Jacob's in a room with an animatronic detached version of his head. He is in the room with a fake version of Lestat's decapitated body. He's in the room with a fake version of his own decapitated body. And Delaney is there, who looks like Claudia but is Regina.
Yeah. Yeah. Jolie says, hopefully season 4 helps in the election. Boy, listen, if we're following the TV universe, there's been a culling of the population in the fall of 2025.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be for our better, voting-wise.
We can hope.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Blessed be the queen.
Okay, Lizzie, God bless her, our host for After Dark. She may not have read these books, but she has read some books. Full Island of Dr. Moreau, she says about Armand. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but also like full Armand from the books.
Full Armand. I was just
full
like, you
Armand
could
from
just
the
say.
Books. Like, lest we forget our fella and his experimentation with blenders. You know, like.
Okay. Rollins says early in the After Dark, we built this just like originally for 2 parts. And your job in part 1 is to put everything in the air. Okay, I thought that was very telling. There's another one that we'll get to in a little while from this After Dark, but you said it. You think there are very clear hints that we're just waiting on the timing from corporate structure, but we already know. We're moving forward.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, there were just the tiniest of little smiles. If you go back and watch when they start talking, like you see Sam, just the tiniest. And I love body language. I'm like, an amateur criminologist. So I'm always paying attention.
Raleigh Ritchie makes an appearance on the After Dark episode where Jacob goes and breaks down the theory of the third album. I love this.
I loved this. This was super interesting and fun. And also feels kind of apropos. Like, I love it.
Yeah, perfect. It's
a really good analogy.
Okay, so Sam says that Lestat is accepting himself and loving himself when Paul shows up. That Paul giving him these lines about Louis is real for Sam. The way that he was reading it was not. It's not a heaven messenger. It's not whatever. But it is Lestat saying, Louis does love you.
I am lovable. I can be loved.
Yeah.
I am allowed.
Which either way, I think that's a valid interpretation and also beautiful in its own way. But I do love. That's what we want more of in these After Darks, honestly, is those sorts of insights from the actors.
Well, and
themselves.
we didn't play a silly little game. We got to just talk the whole time, and that was much better.
I hadn't thought about it, but you're 100% right. They didn't play their silly game. Okay, Rollins says the long table is sort of Dreamstat gone wild. Oh, such a succinct version of that. What is Dreamstat in season 2? Dreamstat is just Louis' projection of his guilt and his concern and his worry about what might yet come, and et cetera, right? The long table is all of that for Lestat played out in this moment of heightened emotion since he's dying.
Yeah. Well, and it's all so fucking theatrical. Like, it all feels so like it's something that could be filmed on a stage. It feels like in so many ways a play that's being played out in front of you too. Like, it just.
Yes.
It hit so many cool points for me. I really liked it.
Okay. So we talked about in the episode, the moment that I think hit Armand the most is when he says, I saw good in you for a while. Louis says that. Asad says that Armand felt seen for the first time in this conversation, and that's why he was so affected. He remembered why he fell in love with Louis in the first place, that Asad's reasoning, by the way, is yes, Armand did love Louis, at least at one point.
Well, and you get so caught up in, when you get angry, you get so caught up in the anger of what happens and the fallout of the end of a relationship. And it's very easy to forget that there was once very true, genuine feelings there. There was true love. There was true affection. There was true interest and curiosity,
When they're at their most vulnerable, they're also at their most violent or radical.
I love
Hannah's
that.
talking about Armand, but she's talking about all the vampires, period.
They all, yes.
Okay, we've talked about how much Rollin gets these fucking books. Hannah gets these books just as much, y'all. Hannah gets it too. Hannah gets it.
Yeah. Also, I love
He
her
can be
fucking
both.
hair.
Isn't it great? It's so great. He can be both dangerous and pathetic.
Yeah.
That's a very succinct description of Armand. He is one of the most dangerous vampires and also probably the saddest.
Yeah, and for so many legitimate reasons. You get into the oof.
Louis' version in a smaller way of The Fault Was Mine. That's how Jacob describes that conversation back and forth. Tania says, is it just me or does Hannah have super vampire eyes?
She does have pretty. I bet she would be a gorgeous vampire with that fucking gray hair, that silver. She's a silver fox, Hannah Moskowitz.
She is a silver fox. Jolie, thank you for listening. Jolie says she's headed to
Love
the
you,
store
Jolie.
for dinner. Love the podcast. Love you too. You know what? You just remember that name, Jolie. We'll be talking about her more in the near future. Okay. Louis as a pimp and Armand as a sex slave. This discussion in the After Dark I thought was really, really good. Tania says, grab me some milk, please, Jolie. I love the idea of us going grocery shopping for each other while we continue to watch the live stream.
Little drop off on the porch for you, babe.
Okay, Mark Johnson specifically asked, what's next for these characters? What do you want to do next? And he doesn't give much of an answer, God bless him. However, he does say this: we have not seen the end of any of these characters. Mark, I'm going to fucking hold you to that, baby. Any of these characters. Do you hear me? Any of these characters. I need to see them all. I got time for Regina. Honestly, you got an interesting story to tell to conclude that in some fashion or tie that further in the later books. I'm down. I'm interested.
Please don't fuck with that poor woman anymore.
Yeah, don't do. I say all the time, Tate, the young grandson on Yellowstone. It's just every fucking episode. It's like, what can we throw him under the bus with this week? Ugh, stop it. Okay. Sam never gave the season up. This is the note that I have here. ADR. So he finished recording, finished filming. Then he goes and does ADR. Then he does the studio recording with Daniel Hart. He takes a short break for Christmas, and then he starts promotion and goes to see you all at the live concert in,
was
that May?
In June.
June. Okay, early June. Yeah, there we go. But like, what the hell, man? He really has been busy.
Yeah, I hope his payout on his contract reflects it.
Yeah, the old boy ain't putting it better.
God bless our sweet boy. He has been working hard.
Rollin says a lot of things that people really think they want to see that we're not showing, but we're doing in a different way. All right, this is about the time also that he says we've done half of Lestat's story.
Yeah,
so far,
this I feel like was it was like a message to you, Joel.
He's like, I know there's things that you're missing here. They're in the budget for season 4. Don't worry about it. They're coming. They're coming, in fact. He says we're about halfway through. We've seen about half of Lestat's story. And Asid speaks up. He's like, there are 15 other books, aren't there? I feel like we haven't seen half.
Yeah. That's our boy. Our sweet boy.
Asid says 6 seasons in a movie.
And I'm here for it.
Okay. One more thing. Rollin apparently told Sam when he got cast, I'm going to make you hate acting.
Hate acting. Oh my God. What a thing to say to an actor.
Sam says, I don't hate acting, but I could probably not do that for a little bit. I do think that to myself now when I'm done with this. I could probably not do that.
Yeah,
for a little bit.
I need my boy to take a good vacation. I don't know anyone. When this play closes in Sydney, I hope that my guy goes with his gal somewhere lovely with his dog and has a really nice, relaxing time of it and doesn't have to speak to anyone for like at least 3 weeks.
Just goes home and binges Parks and Rec, right? Like just watch little What We Do in the Shadows, maybe.
Yeah, let's watch Ted Lasso again.
Yeah, watch Ted Lasso. That's what
I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Sam, you need a love that will cradle you.
You need a love that will.
You should have that. I could be that for you.
Ready and willing. Half of America right now, Sam.
Okay. You genuinely. I am sad that it is over. I am sad that we do have a wait ahead of us. But I am so thankful for what we have gotten.
I'm actually really pumped to go back and just start it over for the beginning of the season and just like
Yes.
fucking bench it is what I really want to do right now.
Yes, watch it like a movie
Yeah.
almost. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Like take a Saturday and just watch the whole fucking thing.
Yes.
Y'all, genuinely, I'm so glad that it's not going to be the end. This won't be the end of this universe. This won't be the end of this series. However, to mirror what Louis had said in season 2 to Claudia, if this was all there was, it would be enough. What a fucking gift. What a fucking gift that we've gotten. What a beautiful wrapped package of this love letter to Anne's work.
What a wild time. And what a fucking brilliantly thought out and well handled show. You know, like even if it's not exactly what you were hoping you would get, they have handled every bit of it with thought and care and with a generosity to the spirit of Anne's work, and I am really excited to be along for the ride.
I'm so glad to be here with you all. I am so looking forward to being with some of you all in person. Quickly,
Halloween!
New Orleans. We're going to be together at Halloween's. Many of us. We're going to New Orleans.
It was so much
we're going to be there
last year, you guys.
We're going to do a live performance. We're going to have Rose Sinister on the stage with her podcast first, and then Ashley and I'll take the stage. We got our first sponsor the other day for the live event. I'll tell you, I haven't even talked to you about that, Ashley. Yeah, we got a sponsor for the event. Patrick Garone. He's got a book coming out, and we're going to do a little presentation of the book at the event. It's going to be really, really cool, y'all. So tickets are available. Go to articulatecoven.com/events and sign up. Get your ticket now and come join us in New Orleans. We will be doing it again in Halloween 2027. If you can't make it out this year, we'll be there next year too. But a lot of us will be very much looking forward to a little Vampire Lestat vacation in this off season. We'll be having it in New Orleans. So come and join us. Next week, we're going to talk about feedback, your feedback on the season overall. I'll put that post up where you can all write your little, I mean it. If you want to make an official statement on the season, this is your opportunity. Write them up, write something good. We'll share it on the show. Then in 2 weeks, we're going to do our rankings episode for every episode of this show.
How are we not supposed to go rewatch the whole fucking thing in the next week and a half? Ugh.
Can I tell you, I have already ranked my top 7, I think, or 8. I've already
written. To get started.
I'm going to send you the list of the episode titles so that you can start going through and looking. But yeah, I've got my first 7 already marked out. I'm fairly certain. And I think I can tell you my bottom 3 too already. It's going to be those middle ones that are going to be the really hard ones. Anyway, after that, we're going to do the AMA episode. If you've got a question that you've wanted to ask me or Ashley, and listen, if it's super personal, I will DM you and say, actually, friend, we're not going to answer that. Would you like to send another one? I will tell you boxers or briefs, actually, I suppose. I started to make the Bill Clinton joke. Anyway, ask us anything. Ask us anything, and we're going to record it August 4th. It'll be out the next weekend, though. That's our upcoming Articulate Covens. After that, if you are not a patron, you're going to start getting the Castle Rock discussions that we had for Afterlife.
Oh, yes.
We got 20 episodes of Castle Rock from Hulu.
Oh.
Very, very good Stephen King show.
So
Go
fun.
and enjoy that. Enjoy our conversations about it. Some really good stuff there as well. All right. Done and dusted, folks.
Whew. What a ride.
The season finale. Season finale is in the books, not the series finale.
Season finale. Booyah.
All right. Y'all, go watch some Baz Luhrmann, too, if you need a little palate cleanser. Strictly Ballroom was fantastic. Our discussion is up already for that. Next week, we'll be talking about Moulin Rouge and Afterlife. I love me some Baz Luhrmann. I'm fondly in love with Australians, I'm finding. Is the truth.
It is really true. Like, I have got a huge, huge love in my soul for the Aussies.
Tauni says, I just missed y'all. I was watching the episode first. Tauni, it's okay. I'll put the whole thing up as soon as I can this evening. It'll go up tonight for patrons, tomorrow for YouTube and everybody else. And so you'll be able to enjoy the full conversation. We talked for 2.5 hours. You got a lot.
Yeah.
You got a lot. All right. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for commenting and all your feedback and all of your positivity to us. Thank you for helping us build this amazing clubhouse to hang out in all year long, even when we're having to wait for production.
That's right, because we're here. So don't worry. If you're new, you don't have to go anywhere. We're going to stay around and talk this shit year round.
Absolutely. All right. Until we talk to you the next time, we have been your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. I am me, and she is me, and we are he, and we are all together.
We are all together.
Thank you for sharing this time with the Articulate Coven. Support the show as either a free or paid member at articulatecoven.com/join. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Find more from the Coven with our sister show, Flan Again, covering the works of Mike Flanagan.